overload. Wildin' cause I broke the mold. Really in this business of investing, but I win the most. Cruising when it's 2 a.m. Bodies hanging at the banks. Drive me to the nearest liquor store to celebrate again. Oh, it's on my mind in good time. It's on my mind in good time.
Hold up, wait a minute, stop. I don't even need you anymore, I'm on the top. I've been on a roll, you've been on a drop. I can't give you lessons and this shit is high rock. This ain't new to me, she just sent 140 notes to me. Dripping YSL, these bitches using me. I can't give a damn cause I've been through the rain.
I seen you put the lipstick in the Prada. You moving on the floor. Nice, young, and the vibe is electric. The bankroll at my door. I feel my senses overload. Wildin' cause I broke the mold. Really in this business of investing, but I win the most. Cruising when it's 2 a.m. Bodies hanging at the bangs. Drive me to the nearest liquor store to celebrate again. Oh, it's so.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Xenon Gaming Series. Great to be here. My name's Slayzilla. I'm joined with the incredibly based Observer Gun caster, Tiggy. Tiggy, how you doing?
I'm doing great today, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good. I'm excited to jump into this. Of course, just the beginning of this season for Xenon. So incredibly excited to see these teams back in the action. We've got a couple of names you might be recognizing if you were around last season. Tonight's game, well, we'll have two of them, but our first game consists of Paradox White taking on the 96 Bulls.
It's gonna be a very interesting game. Granted, I haven't watched these guys yet this season, but considering it's just the second day of the season, they haven't played yet. But I think this is gonna be a good matchup. I'm gonna hope for some overtime.
Well, that's always the hope and dream, isn't it? We're always looking to see just how far these matches can go. Should be fun. So, obviously, the 96 Bulls, if you're around for the previous season of Xenon, you'd recognize that name. They got picked up by Valence, and as T3, T4 tends to go, they disbanded. But two of them are back under the 96 Bulls name, so that's incredibly exciting for them. I believe it's Rez as well as Cruz who will be the sole survivors of all that. So it's great to have them back here. Paradox White, I don't know too much about them. Do you have any insight on Paradox?
No, I haven't heard of them at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. Granted, I'm not around down here, but still haven't heard a single thing about them.
Well, that leaves a lot of opportunity for them to really show us what they've got. So, of course, we do need to get the map bans in and find out exactly where we're heading. That was fast. Good grief, look at it.
Ooh.
We're going to there, to the decider, but we'll have to get all the way through all of these bans and picks. What are you thinking, Tiggy? Obviously, you're an observer. I would say you specialize in maps. What do you think we'll see?
A lot of teams like to go to Chalet nowadays, but otherwise, I'm hoping for no Oregon. I'm tired of Oregon, seen it way too much. Otherwise, a good throw that I don't see a lot of people go to nowadays is Clubhouse for some reason. Very just kind of a throw and mix. People, oh, there it goes. It's sad, and we already got Bank out of the way. But maybe we can see some Sky, and or theme park, some of them new maps added into the map pool. It's interesting to see how some of these teams play it.
Well, theme park won't be in the map pool for long, just taken out by Paradox. So, unfortunate there, of course, with a best of one. I say this all the time during regular seasons. It's all about getting off to the races quick. Skyscraper takes a fall as well. So, we're starting to look at, Chalet. Chalet, Oregon, as well as Villa still being up. You've got Border now taken down, so that leaves us Cafe in the running for those 4 remaining maps. It's coming down to looking like we'll have a pretty basic map, but Villa off the board still gives us a chance for Chalet.
On Chalet's always the fun map to see. Just a lot of aggression, and there it goes. It's my curse, I guess. At this point, either cafe maybe. Come on, let's see some cafe.
Well, it's gonna be Cafe. All right, I'll take it. Cafe.
No Snorrigan.
No Snorrigan, no Borgen. I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of Oregon every now and again, but you're right. It does.
You watch it enough, it's the same thing.
It's so
you
true.
can just take the team names out, and it would be the same exact play style.
Oh, good old Oregon. But Cafe, now, back when I first started casting, Cafe was one of those meta maps. It was before Oregon had its rework and came in. I mean, this was one of the Snorrigan maps of its day, back with Villa and Clubhouse, all you'd ever see. So it's nice to go back in time, go back to Cafe a little bit. And I think especially with the attacker changes, they've gotten a lot of buffs recently, being able to repick and have just a little bit more firepower under their belt. It can sway Cafe to a little bit more of an attacker-sided map at times, but I think it still tends to lean 3-3 splits.
Yeah, and especially with attackers now have a lot of attacks focused on vertical play, and that top floor, you can't do as much vertical play unless you get bottom control. A lot of times you got a bunch of roamers just roaming down there, and teams just cannot seem to be able to enter from that top floor. And then with the introduction of repick, you have incorporations of like Nook now being super meta as well, just being able to sneak up those white stairs. It's just great to see.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there are a couple of maps like that where you know where the attack is going to have to come from. Usually it's on sites like inside of the basement, downstairs, where there's only a couple of different avenues. It's that case, but with the upstairs side, because of the reasons you mentioned, there's not a lot of opportunities for the attackers to take that verticality, except from below. You've got the 2 staircases, and you've usually got that single hatch right under red stairs that teams will drop and then push their way in through Cigar Lounge. Pretty basic is usually what we see, but again, like you mentioned, the attacker repick can absolutely throw some wrenches into the mix. I'm excited to see what these two teams are going to bring to the table.
Yeah, and it looks like we have our game almost ready, so whenever they're ready to send to us, we will be ready to go.
All right, well, let's get into it. I can't wait. Going to be so exciting. Of course, we'll jump into those operator bans first and foremost. Oh, Paradox starts on the attacking side. It'll be the Bulls on the defense. And, well, for bans on Cafe, a little bit different than some other maps, but I expect to see the Thatcher come out. What do you think for another attacking operator?
Flores. Flores has
Hmm.
definitely been one of those just good utility and clearing operators, especially on Pixel
Oh,
upstairs. And we see Finca coming out. Well, that's a thrown in the wrench, but with how impactful she's been with the LMG meta, having the Gon 6, having the frag grenades, all that utility clearing, and just being able to also heal your teammates. Probably one of the best ops in the game that you could be banning out.
it certainly is a nice little switch up, a little curveball thrown in with that Finka ban. Love to see it. Thatcher comes in, so pretty basic. Now onto the defensive sides. Valkyrie and Mira are very common, but for Cafe, let's see if Paradox decides to switch up from those operators. It will be the Valkyrie, so the final operator will come down to the 96 Bulls. They did pick the Finka. I'm wondering that they pick something interesting. Now, we could see Wamai. Wamai incredibly powerful, especially upstairs, but with 96 Bulls starting on the defense, they might want to utilize him on that pixel angle. We'll see. It is going to be the Mara. All right, so pretty basic on the defense and half of the attack, but honestly, that Finka ban could change up gameplay more than any of the other four.
Yeah, and the defense has just free roam now. Nothing really important has been banned out here. I mean, they're down in one info op with the use of new bulletproof cameras that we've seen a lot, especially on like operators like a Rooney. Intel is a very easy thing to come across, and being down a Finka is a very big thing for attackers because that's their primary entry fragger that usually plays them.
Oh, man. Always fun to see some new faces in here. Of course, as I mentioned, we recognize Curious, we recognize Rez, but Father, Tech, I don't seem to recognize too many of those names or on Paradox White. So it'll be interesting to see how this is all set up. Now, upstairs into that bar cocktail defense, we talked about it, can be very rigid with how the attack goes, especially those bans. It'll be interesting to see what Paradox does to counter that. Now, recently, back when Valence Academy was a thing, we saw Rez on a disgusting amount of spawn peaks. Let me tell you this, a 3K just with spawn peaks before. So watch out for Rez on this map. You have to be careful about all these windows.
That's a stat I was not expecting to hear today, but hey, and looks like he's already going for a spawn peak. And maybe he's going to manage to pick somebody off yet again, but otherwise, there's nothing really else holding this setup together. It's a pretty normal setup. You got the pixel shield, and you got all your Rooney gates set up just in these default spots, and looks like the attackers are going to opt for a default push as well. Just going for that upstairs take, trying to clear out some utility, and just hopefully they don't delay too much from just standing on the roof.
That is the curse of Cafe Dostoevsky, is just spending too much time on the roof. A nade will be sent down, won't find anybody. And of course, you have to be careful on that skylight. There are so many people, like Father, who is waiting to catch you. But of course, the ability to get a little bit more zooming in with the attacker ops can definitely help in those positions. So it looks like they are going to be hoping to drop down right onto that beautiful red stairway and move in from there. Looks like they're going to try to clear off the wall and jump into as well the cigar lounge where Cruz is waiting.
Yeah, but looks like the attack is already. We got the Mozzie sitting below, and we also have the Aruni. But looks like Father was not ready for that swing to come from him. So he's gonna get naded out and more likely finished off. There he goes. And now we're gonna start to see this attack try and form into a cigar.
Still that roam downstairs. Fizzy will take a bit of damage. That's the Yana trying to clear it out a little bit. Will run back up, just holding the flanks. You can see, the lovely Nomad come in for that responsibility as well. They don't have any dedicated ones of those, but it will be Cruz falling next to Jelly. 96 Bulls are definitely in a little bit of trouble. You still got Tech Will downstairs. He needs to start helping out his teammates that way as well. Could pick up a couple of great kills, but at this point, Paradox have an amazing man advantage. You see the C4 tossed. It'll be kills from Rez and that way to even the scoreline. C4 won't hit, but now you've got the attack starting to take more map control.
Yeah, and with 50 seconds left in the clock, 3v3 all evened up. It is starting to become into a defender side. Granted, you're out of that nitro from the Mozzie to deny plant, but still, you got all three guns left on the board. You got Pixel Shield, and looks like Rez is about to take a gunfight in the sledge, and he does not take him out. but goes to the reswing and opponent kills him.
Dang, dude. This is just going back and forth, but it'll be Fontu closes the door on that round. Very well done with the attack. You saw the defense bring it back to the 3-3, but after that, it was a very successful push on into that poor Mozzie waiting in the bathroom. So Paradox White take their first attacking round victory. Looks like the Finka, maybe they don't need her, but a good opening round. 96 Bulls, they'll decide to try it again.
And maybe they're just not going to let two of their teammates die right off the bat. I mean, that seems like a pretty good strat to me. You know, you don't want to be stuck in that 3v5 at the very start of the round, but what do I know? There's a reason they're out there and I'm sitting here.
Well, I think generally, yes. You do want to have either the same amount or more players on your side, but we'll see if they're going to switch anything up other than hopefully just not dying. Looking at the operators, rather, we do see similar choices coming through. It'll be Rez this time onto that Melusi. You've got the same tech on that lovely Mozzie. You bringing out the Arudi once again. The Wamai, as I mentioned, very powerful in combination with that pixel shield. You can see to the lower left part of your screen, and Cruz this time takes the mantle of that smoke. Interestingly enough, has the FMG instead of the M590, going for a couple more bullets instead of being able to shape the sight with that shotgun. Let's see if Paradox can find themselves another victorious round win, or if 96 Bulls will strike back.
Yeah, let's hope. But with how this is set up, it looks the exact same, and maybe Paradox is gonna identify that and just, hey, we can push this the exact same guys and just take them out the exact same way. But looks like Rez might have a different story for him sitting right there on the ticket window. Maybe he might be getting a little aggressive once this wall gets opened.
Might be just preparing for it, but as you mentioned, it does look like they'll be taking a incredibly similar approach. Font still onto that skylight, looking to get those kills onto, I believe it was Father, who we picked off early on, finished him with the nade. The nade is going to be tossed, but it'll be caught by one of those magnets, and now a minute has passed away already. Not too much action, but again, just slowly taking that control. Already an entrance into the cigar lounge is available.
And this has been the hardest thing for them to do. Get past this red stairs. If you can get past this, you have majority of upstairs control if you can get cigar. But right now, Rez is going to be fighting back, and he gets one, and then he gets two. And we see the exact opposite from what happened last round. Start 3v4, 2v4. The action is happening, folks.
Without a doubt, brings it to that advantage for the Bulls, and it's going to be Tech finding the kill onto Gare. That puts it all in Font's hands. Not an easy place to be in. He's got an outside repel, still has to make his way into the actual building at this point. Might just take some time as jumps coming through, and Tech finds the kill. What a hop through that piano window just in time as the sledge finds his way on top of the roof. Excellent rebuttal to the argument Paradox provided on round number one. They'll tie that score up to 1-1.
It was great seeing that them adapting to this more aggressive play style. They've realized in the first round, Paradox just kind of, they were given free roam. So what does 96 Bulls do? They play more aggressive, and you see Rez just swinging on red stairs, getting a double kill, and basically winning the round for them at that point. But now we're going to head downstairs to Kitchen and see what they go from here.
Kitchen is one of those sites where verticality comes into play big time. I mean, that sledge going to be so important. You can really dominate the positionings and how comfortable the defense can feel just by smacking a couple of holes above their head. So I'm going to be interested to see if Paradox does opt for that. You typically will see some good pressure onto Baker. You've already seen 2 Jaeger ADSs go down there, assisting someone who most likely will be playing around that area. Very common push, as it provides a pretty straight-on sight push, which is always important. Let's find out what the Paradox guys have planned. We actually have an Orcs coming through as well from Tech, so could see a little bit of that. And once again, the spawn peak being prepared by Rez. Spots him out. There's opening. There's 2, baby. And that's a double kill spawn peak. He's gotten 3 before, so not a personal record, but yeah, I'm sure he'll take it.
Yeah, and that's the Flores and the Habana off the board. You're not getting any walls open as no one has those can opener secondary gadgets. And you also lost your primary utility clear as you're out 3 flashbangs and you're out 4 Flores drones. It is gonna suck for them at this point to try and attack this. And now they have like 2 minutes left on the board.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a very difficult move. Not only do they have to get into the building, but Rez is waiting inside of Cigar Lounge. Looks like they have dropped onto red stairs. They'll be pushing through. They have the Nomad to try to deny a little bit of that roaming potential, but oh, it's not going to be an easy day here for Paradox in round number 3. 96 Bulls have so much control based on those 2 kills that happened within 30 seconds of the round.
Yeah, and Paradox does not have any bodies to really be swinging these random corners at because you lose one gunfight, one more, and all of a sudden you're in a 2v5, which is an enormously more disadvantage than a 3v5's in. And we're going to see just Fizz walk right down White Hall, and that's what I was talking about. You don't have those expendable bodies. You gotta make sure you're droning. Nobody's droning out Rez.
He is eating up right now. It's on a quad K, and you can see the final blue outline cowering over by New Balk. Lechero needs to be careful. Rez is on the hunt. He sniffs it out, but he'll sniff the wrong way, and that's at least denying the flawless round ace. Lech will continue to battle out, but in this situation, a 1v4, I mean, you can't get much more difficult than this. He'll be just pressured now. And it'll be the M590 to find him. But Father, 2 rounds in a row now go to 96 Bulls. And you mentioned their aggression. I think that's something that they need to continue to playing through. It's really what the OG 96 Bulls were kind of known for. That just unrelenting aggression.
Yeah, and Paradox can simply just not seem to adapt to this. Like, not checking for spawn peaks from Rez just right away. And then now just throwing bodies at this push. There's no reason to be doing that, especially when you have drones on the board and you know these guys are going to be aggressive.
Oh, it's absolutely disgusting. So I'm remembering a little bit more about that Valence Academy game. They also had Braction playing as a sub for one of them, and it was on, gosh, the one cafe. They went to Villa. It was an incredible series. The best of 3. It was in the playoffs of Static, but oh boy, so many shenanigans. So it's nice to see that coming through. Rez up to 7 kills, now playing as the Azami, the operator who was recently allowed into our competitive meta. So great to have her here. Again, you see the Oryx. I'm going to be interested to see if Paradox can escape some of those spawn peaks. You'd hope they can. Right now, we're going to be attacking into that reading room site, so the middle floor. And as you can see, typically a defense will hold upstairs and then rotate down as needed.
Yeah, and it's gonna be hard to take upstairs with Rez on the Azami, as she basically has 6 deployable shields that she can throw it on at any time, and then you're also gonna have the Oryx who can just kind of jump up and down hatches at his own will, causing just stress for the attackers at any point in the round. But you know, maybe with that Flores on the board, they can clear out those Azami barricades and learn from their past mistakes to not to expect the aggression.
Mm-hmm. I think they will, right? I mean, you can only catch somebody so many times, or at least you'd hope that eventually they'd learn. All right, they peek out these windows. They like to look here. They're going to be super aggressive. So I think seeing the adaptation from both sides is going to be important. And check out this replay we've got here popping up on our screen. The double kill from Rez, just gorgeous. Love to have some of that coming back and reminding us of the fear he strikes into our hearts.
Yeah, the great player, you know, as you mentioned earlier, 7-2, and we're only 3 rounds into this game, and he is looking for more. I don't think he's ready to slow down just yet.
Oh.
And there goes the Sophia. Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Not having a good day. Fizzy
Nope.
0-4.
That feels so bad. We saw that way shooting off those Hibata pellets. Rez looks for a shot onto Font, won't quite find it, but so unfortunate for Fizzy to peek that and just immediately die. And honestly, some great holds here coming by the 96 Bulls. We've only got a minute and 20, and some of these guys haven't even gotten to sight or on a map.
Yeah. And we've all been in that position as Fizzy. You know, you play a ranked game, you just get swung, and you just rage, get off for the night. But, we're going to see the Oryx getting aggressive, taking out the Hibana. There goes your hard breach. But for this site, the Sledge is going to be your primary entry point to try and get those frags. But now you got Rez coming up on the flank, looking for more. He's not ready to slow down.
Bro, what is happening? It's Tech as well as Rez and Cruz finishing it off for the flawless round. I mean, did they get past Red Stairs? Oh my gosh, this defense was so tight up. They played those stairs perfectly and just hardly allowed them to drop in at all. 96 Bulls on this defense are looking absolutely deadly. Paradox need to find some sort of an answer. We're looking at best for them a 3-3 half. At worst, we could find ourselves in a 5-1.
That's never good. You're already in a deep, bad mental state after losing that, and now you're hopping on the defense, which I would consider Cafe an evenly sided map, which doesn't spell good when you're at a 5-1 disadvantage. So,
well, this site here, Tiggy, is a perfect opportunity for them to find a round win. In fact, it's been the only site that they were able to win back on round number 1. It's been a flawless rotation after that. So Paradox, get a win here. Get some flow and going. Get some wind underneath your wings and sail to a potential 3-3. A 4-2 wouldn't be awful, but as you said, if we're looking at a 3-3 split on both sides, that would give 96 Bulls the advantage at 4-2. Now, looking at the defensive lineup, we actually see the Ella coming in this time from Rez, most likely with that Scorpion, very high fire rate weapon, looking to do damage, and Tech brings out the Pulse, which is a little bit interesting on this top floor site. We'll see what they have planned.
he's a great op for the information that he provides. Even if you don't, go ahead and nitro somebody on top red stairs, you're feeding that information. Hey, they have dropped on red. Hey, they're pushing into Cigar Lounge. He's just a great information op, and if the time does come where you do need to knife plant, you know exactly where they're at, and Fizzy knows exactly where Cruz is at. Just getting him right off the rip, and there's your smoke off the board. 3 canisters in pocket. Not an op that you want to lose very early on.
Not at all. Smoke is kind of, well, I guess Fink is more like Smoke. One of those operators you want to have at the end of a round. And so to lose that Smoke early on definitely feels bad. We're seeing the drop on into Red Stairs. They're moving on. With that LMGE, one of the only LMGs the attacking side will have access to, with Finka being banned out this game. Continuing to be very cautious about different angles the 96 Bulls might be holding, and the pings, the drones, all coming in, but for that way, it doesn't matter. Still picks up 1, goes ahead for 2, and now 96 Bulls have that man advantage back in their hands.
No, I was going to say, Fizzy, he redeemed himself from last round, but not after that swing. That way just had his number on that one, and now yet again we're left in a 3v4 in 96 Bulls favor, and you're down your 2 utility clears, which you need for top floor. Pixel is still up.
Ooh.
Gar has fries him.
There's a couple of refrags going back and forth. Rez finds one. He's just coming on through. It'll be finding that shot. So from the 4-3, it's back down to the 2v2. Evened up with 60 seconds of the board. Tech, beautiful shots onto Font. And Gare decides, hey, you know what? That red stair drop is a death trap. I'm going to New Belk. But not going to be there for long as Tech shucks down a C4 and blows him sky high. Poor guy reacted a little bit too late, but you weren't going to escape that, Kobe. And 96 Bulls find themselves in a 4-1. Paradox definitely looked better in that round than they had previously, but it hasn't been enough after round 1.
No, they're still losing, those people very early on in the round, just giving 96 Bulls that quick advantage. It's something you don't need on any map, but especially Cafe, you're going to need that utility clearing. Pixel Shield is just one of the biggest pains in the butt to try and clear with just frag grenades and no flashbangs during any of those ADSs or Womidus. And otherwise, you got to take a different route of attack, like we saw Gar doing from Skylight, just trying to get any picks he got, and he ended up getting one and having to just drop New Balcony Hatch.
This has been an incredibly difficult Cafe to even enter into the map. We saw back on round number 4, where Paradox White couldn't even get themselves down onto the right floor. It was just being penned in around those red stairs. So finding a different entrance could definitely be very big here. Now back on round 3, we were all the way on this kitchen side, and this is where we saw that 2K spawn peak into a quad K for Rez, where he picked up the majority of his kills. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how it plays out this time. He's got a pretty aggressive little angle here, playing on that Jaeger, and already busting open the wall. He'll be, or door rather, he'll be looking for an early pick. However, it'll be that way falling to Font.
First pick going to... Okay, well, 96 Bulls eases it up right away. So there goes that point. But going to be great to see. It looks like Paradox is going to be taking it from the roof yet again. No, I'm wrong. They were taking it from back white stairs. So that's going to be very good. You know, you actually have your Hard Breacher alive this time. They're not getting picked off by Rez right away in the spawn peak. And getting this this freezer breach open is going to be very good for them. Try and get in and quickly plant on that B bomb, I believe. So the attack needs to, the attack needs to be aware of these staircases. And Fizzy's aware of one, but he's not aware of the other.
Tech picks up a double kill. It'll be Gare who finally finds that refrag. And again, we find ourselves in the 2v2. Cruz and Father, both of these players have not been the top fraggers. That's been Tech and Rez, so it'll be up to them to really get it going. Cruz lands a couple of shots, maybe one onto Jelly. That P10 Roni, minimal amount of ammunition in that, but dodges the nade at least. It's back and forth fighting. Father finds himself in a difficult situation, but Cruz will swing and collect the kill. Jelly is alone in this cold, dark world. Diana has everything to do, and let's see if they can get that done. Jelly, the final hope to pull a 4-2 split, but it doesn't look good with 1:05 to go.
They got one nade left, and they got one drone left. With a minute left on the clock, this is doable. You know, you got Cruz on half health, and you got Father on about 25 HP. Takes about one bullet for Father, and, you know, if Cruz is going to keep playing this aggressive on red stairs, you might be able to find him on a quick swing. But looks, throw out the nitro, and he's going to make him run away. Beautiful, beautiful play, and 96 Bulls is going to be taking their time out after that one.
That was gorgeous. The C4 bait almost. And yeah, got the reaction out of that lone player. And now the timeout for 96 Bulls, as they'll be sending themselves into a 5-1 split heading into the second half. Now, Paradox have got a lot of ground to make up, but I don't think they're without hope. Font and Gare, they've been looking pretty dang good themselves. If the other teammates can start picking up, they might be able to catch a little bit closer to 96 Bulls on their defense, but the big, tough thing is that they're going to have to win 5 rounds in the next 6. That's a very tall order.
It's not impossible. We've seen it done before, but it is a tall order, and that's only descended to possibly overtime. Because at that point, you're gonna have to win yet another 2 rounds to go to overtime. Or right? You know what? I 6 rounds. 6 rounds gets you to 7. Math is hard nowadays. The American education system has done me well.
If we do see Paradox pull a 6-0 out on this second round and half, then they'd find themselves at a 7-5 victory without even having to go to overtime. Now, that would be a phenomenal comeback story. The 96 Bulls, again, an aggressive team, very frag heavy, but not everyone's perfect. And we are going to see some slips and some weaknesses for both sides. And if Paradox can start taking advantage of those while trying to work on their own strengths and really make this happen, I mean, they're on the defense, and what we saw 96 Bulls do on their defense, can they replicate that? I mean, it was nearly impossible for the attacking side to get into sight. Looking at the operator lineup, it seems to be a little bit different here. We actually have the Warden coming in, but other than that, much of the same operator usage that we saw from the Bull side.
Seems like they're getting ready for maybe a Ying rush to come down like either Skylight or one of the hatches, which from the way 96 Bulls did play defense, you would expect. usually aggression translates to both sides of this map. So I can understand it, and especially with Warden just having that shield, and he's just more adaptive into this meta right now,
Hmm.
especially with, attacker repick.
Especially with attacker repick. I mean, Warden, I've always said, is a little bit of an insurance card for defenders. If you're worried about them bringing in the Ying, some of those operators that can really give you trouble.
Oh,
To be Fizzy getting the refrag onto Rez, but Rez strikes first onto Gare. Great shot on taking down the Yana, who has now gotten to 10 kills, but you lose Gare. Not the worst operator as a Jaeger, but certainly somebody who can gun it up. Back to the 4v4.
of all the ops to lose, I think that's probably the best one to lose.
Mhm.
Because he's got all his utility already placed down. Now you got someone on cams. And, his score lines, well, I guess he had probably the best score line, or the second best score line out of any of the Paradox. But I believe in all these other players. They're going to make the comeback on him. With 2 minutes left, we still see 96 Bullets has yet to even get into the building. Still all sitting on the roof, the cafe curse, and Cruz has been downed.
Well, with Cruz on the floor, it makes it more difficult for 96 Bulls to feel all too comfortable or confident. They might get stuck up on this roof and trying to push into that red as well. Father starts to move down. It looks like Cruz was picked up, but he'll be at minimal HP, unable to boost it up because of the Finka ban that 96 Bulls dictated. That could be interesting situation. Perhaps that really is affecting us more than we think. The LMG meta do go burr, but this fight continues to go burr. As Font finds one, it's the double kill from the Warden and make it 3. As he'll pick up the kill onto Tech, finally being shut down by Cruz, but Lechero is there with the SMG-11 to wrap it up. And all of a sudden, Paradox, they're looking a lot better after that round. Still, though, a lot of ground to continue to make up.
Hey, I believe in the 6-0 comeback. If they keep playing like that, it is very possible for them to make this comeback. Just playing all together, one of your players gets traded right away, evening it out. I mean, they lost the Yana for the Jaeger. I think the attackers lose that trade. You're down frag grenades, you're down Gone 6, and you're down free intel. So.
Very true. Yes, that Yana can be so important because of all those, man. Ooh, check this out. My ADHD go burr right now as we see the triple kill fly through. But you're totally right. The Yana, an incredible operator, losing them early feels bad. So we'll see if the 96 Bulls can hold on to those precious ups a little bit longer into the round. But as we head downstairs, we'll be going to that kitchen site. Again, a site that was very successful for 96 Bulls defense. They're able to utilize time and kind of whittling down the attack nicely when they were here. It'll be Paradox's turn to do that. Operator-wise, we see Lechero switching off onto a different SMG-11, bro. This time it's the smoke bringing out the shield. He's meticulously placing the shield, hoping to have an extra angle. That M590, a phenomenal shotgun, not only at killing people, but also at rearranging how the site looks.
Yeah, and he's one of those ops that is really good at utilizing, as we say, that 6 defender, the time. With the smoke answers, he can delay up to 30 seconds, and then he has his 2 guns to help him along with that. But yet, now we're going to see Jelly get into an early confrontation going on a bakery. Maybe we might see an early first kill from either side.
The drone is going to get that information. We've talked about how important droning is. Information in this game can definitely be life and death in certain cases. No doubt about that. You've got the opening kill come through from Cruz. It's Tech following up immediately. Fizzy Jelly die. Font will shut down Rez. Back to the 4v3 now as we see Bakery Wall prepared to be opened up. So with Jelly and Fizz down, you've still got Font, who is an absolute gunner, up and ready to go, playing on that Jaeger. Gare as well as Lechero going to be important operators. Playing inside of that coat check will be Font the Jaeger.
And with a minute 45 left in the clock, 3v3, the attackers have this entire bakery wall just blown wide open, maybe even possibly going for a plan at any second now. But, the more time they waste, the more it just benefits the defenders, as Smoke still has 2 cancers left in his back pocket, and Fonnet and Garrett are just going to be playing passive, with Fonnet playing in that coat closet, and then Garrett, but now we're going to see Father going in for a plant. There goes Fonnet.
That's going to be a great shot. The plant will go down, but Father Falls Tech brings it to a triple kill. However, Gare brings it all the way back to the 1v1 post-plant situation against Cruz. Cruz has no more 1DD, so no more information to be given out by the Lion. Gare will hope to find his positioning. He believes he's outside of that bakery window now. Will attempt to get a little bit of a bait on from that defuse. Time ticking down makes it a dangerous game to play, and Gare is unfortunately misreading the location of Cruz, giving up his own location, but the swing will be spotted out. Playing time, always important at this point. The plant has got to be stuck. It's got to be, well, at this point, it won't matter. 96 Bulls, great job getting that plant down. They'll find themselves a win, pushing it to match point. Now it is essential for Paradox to win every single round from here on out just to go to overtime.
Yeah, and they had a good start. You know,
All right. Well, it looks like we'll be having a little bit of a potential rehost here. We'll jump back to us, but Tiggy, let's discuss about what we've seen so far. 96 Bulls have definitely shown us what they can do, but at the same time, Paradox, they, on their defense at least, they seem to be much closer.
I think Paradox, they're realizing that 96 Bulls is just aggression, aggression, aggression. If they can just hold them in this one spot, they're going to be able to just blow them wide open. Because if 96 can't just run in and kill everybody, then they don't really seem to have a plan they can fall back onto. Which, it's good for when you're playing defense, but when you're playing attack, if you don't have a backup plan, it is going to cause just massive problems, especially if you don't have like an IGL that can adapt to that.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like the rehost has been figured out. So we're going to be back at the 5-3 heading into round number 9. So it looks like there might have been a ruling here. We'll try to get some extra information as to what happened, but Paradox have that round under their belt, which certainly would help them out. Let's see if we can get a little bit more insight on that, if we can figure out exactly how it went. I think the round was forfeited by 96 Bulls. I didn't catch exactly why. Did you, Tiggy?
Apparently they were just being toxic in chat. That is what Battery is telling us, you know, the great league owner. But now Paradox, because of that, only has 2 rounds to make up to even the score line, and maybe even possibly coming back and winning this whole thing. Which, great confidence boost from your team, as you're adding an extra round on for not having to do a single thing.
As well as avoiding being in a match point situation, which is never a place you want to be. 96 Bulls, they're still ahead, but only by those 2 rounds. As you mentioned, Paradox might take us downstairs to reading and feeding. Well, they'll attempt to even that scoreline just a little bit more.
And we're going to see that new op Sens coming out. You know, they're a great op with having those 2 hard breach can openers, and then having those 3 roly-poly smoke thingies, whatever you want to call them. They're great for blocking off lines of sight and allowing attackers to just kind of walk in with the incorporation of OSA. Because you can't see them and you can't shoot at them. What are you going to do about it?
OSA, such an annoying operator to come through as well. But I'm excited to see how Sens will work with this attacking lineup. Paradox White, they're getting closer and closer. Certainly a team that could turn this up. It's unfortunate that we lost the kills and how everyone was doing. Last we saw, it was really Font, who was, I believe, 9 kills at that point. Very close to eclipsing the 10K mark. Certainly somebody to look out for. Tech, though, starts to move with that OSA, trying to get information out while staying safe at the same time. They're hoping to push through that top floor and then will take advantage of the vertical control. However, Font takes advantage of Tech and finds that opening kill for himself.
Being down the OSA right away is not the best thing. She is basically a walking Monty entry fragger. It's great because you can take this space, you let them know you're here, you're feeding that info to your team, and if you need to, you place your shield down or let it down, and you can just try and actually fight back, unlike what Monty would do, is just kind of staying in the corner and be a useless part of your team. But now we're already seeing Paradox up 5-2, and
Oh,
it's been a big switch. And looks like this round's already going to go in the favor of Paradox, being going up 4-5.
oh,
And
it would have to be an ace clutch for it to happen otherwise. That way makes some headway onto finding the ace, but with so many players to go and a limited amount of time, it really doesn't look like he will be able to finish this one up, continuing to just play slow, checking those angles, and yet Paradox, they'll be content to just play their time and find themselves a very important round win.
and there's Jelly finishing it out. 96 Bulls just losing everybody right away. I don't exactly know where they all lost people. I know they had 3 people upstairs, and all of a sudden we were left with just 1 left on the board upstairs. With you have 2 minutes left on the board, there is no reason that you need to be getting so aggressive when you have all these drones, all this utility to be working with. I think it's just, hey, let's slow it down a little bit and let's rethink this. As you don't have your timeout anymore, you're gonna just have to do it on the fly.
Oh, the timeout might have been used when they were at the 5-1 to just try to get almost in the heads of Paradox, something like that, some reverse psychology. I'm not sure because usually you see teams use the timeout to stop themselves from falling too far into a pit. But Paradox White, they've been able to find themselves 3 rounds in a row. That's what we call here in the biz a flawless rotation, and they've done it nicely. Of course, you got to watch that toxicity that could potentially cost you a game here. As well, Paradox with these couple of rounds have caught up immensely. So it was a 5-1 at the half, and now a 5-4, looking incredibly and infinitely better for the Paradox team. Back upstairs, though, this is going to be where they try and keep that pressure on. 96 Bulls, they're just 2 rounds away from finding themselves a victory. Jelly takes a little bit of damage, not too sure from what, but won't be that big of a deal unless he takes more than 80 damage or something like that. He's actually looking potentially to be aggressive here.
Knowing how Jelly plays, he'll just be jumping out every single window he sees. But Paradox now has that confidence boost. Let's hope that confidence doesn't go to their head. And we're going to be seeing Fizzy trying to swing onto one of the piano windows. But it seems like Rez is going to get off that rappel. And now let's just, with 2 minutes left already on the board, seems like 96 Bulls is taking my advice and slowing it down a little bit. But let's not slow it down too much and just sit on the roof and windows the entire round either.
This map has been such a brutal place to enter into, especially right here, as we've talked about. It just feels like a meat grinder for some of these teams trying to hop on in and feel safe. You've got that way looking to take down the Pixel. There you go, Pixel Shield. It'll be blown up, so that should place Font in a worse position for him. Yeah, it looks like we are going to be jumping onto those red stairs now, making the drop. Rez gets a little bit of information onto that Yana clone, continuing to just seep out a little bit more and take that map control as they can.
And now we're going to see our first entry into the building this round. We're going to see our first utility clear. 96 Bulls finally making some headway into this, and Faunet's going to be the first point of entry here. Hopefully 96 Bulls actually starts to, let's start clearing some people out. We got about a minute left. Jelly's just going to take Cruz out. That's going to be your sledge off the board. 2 frag grenades gone. And Faunet has now been able to retake his position at Pixel, taking out Father, now putting him in at 5v2. And Paradox is not ready to slow down, still getting kills. Rez going to be able to refrag right onto Jelly. No.
Complete dynamic shift. Tech will find Font to the 3v2, so better, but so many kills went unanswered, and Lech will put another one on that list. Rez finds himself at a 1v3 against 2 operators at full HP. Gare just below the 50 mark, and Rez not completely full on HP either. This doesn't look good. In fact, it looks like Paradox White have secured themselves a 5-5 split unless something crazy happens with Rez here. It just doesn't look great with the time, and the operator's still up. Gare makes the swing, hits the shot, and now it is a tied ball game at 5-5.
I feel like 96 Bulls has just kind of thrown this by themselves, being toxic in chat. That can't be the reason that you start losing these rounds and lose this game. just because you're toxic in chat, but maybe they're gonna get their heads back in the games as we're gonna see kitchen service attack coming out, and they're they might learn from what they did last time and do it exactly the same way and take that round back that they lost earlier.
The fact is, right now, Paradox is threatening that 6-0 half. Pulling out a 7-5 after going down 1-5 would be an incredible feat. 96 Bulls, after we saw that rehost, after we saw that round forfeited, they just have not found their sea legs again. And it definitely shows. It feels like an incredibly different team. Not only that, but they had also already lost 2 rounds before that. The defensive side was definitely where they felt comfortable. Switching on to the attack, they don't have the Finca. They don't have these operators that just seem to be having that same impact. And especially when we see those kills, 1, 2, 3 from Paradox without being answered until far too late into the round. The 96 Bulls have got to find some kind of switch up here, or we really could see the complete reverse sweep.
And you never want to see that, because even if, oh, you're going to guarantee overtime, that's just being in a mental state of we were up 5-1, how are we losing this? Is just not a good thing at all for them to be, I guess, feeling. But we're going to be seeing a top-down take yet again, classic cafe. Just the map of verticality. You're seeing the buck and the sledge coming out, gonna make the site a living hell, as to put it, for these defenders. And I don't see any roamers particularly roaming on the top floor either. So it seems like it's gonna be no contention for them.
Well, the attacking side definitely taking their time. We've started to see them going onto that second floor, even some on the third floor. So making sure that they clear out any potential roamers. But as you mentioned, there don't seem to be too many. Father finds Fizzy as he'll walk on up. That's the Sens we've been hearing so much about. Awesome to see them out here. Hopefully some kind of impact will be had, as I don't think I've seen too much great utilization with their utility so far, but the 5v4 certainly feels good for the 96 Bulls. However, time could be an issue later into the round.
Yeah, let's not waste too much time. You can look through all those holes all you want, but if you're not finding anybody, you can't plant upstairs. You still got to go attack this site, and that's what 96 Bulls is doing, putting themselves on a 5v3 right away, and they got a minute left on the clock and full utility. The only thing they've burnt is one of those can openers and a frag grenade, and looks like they're going to be starting to utilize that Sens here very shortly to possibly get a push going onto something. Looks like it's going to be that smoke and freezer.
So cutting off the line of sight can be definitely of use to the guys on the 96 Bulls. You do have Font, though, who's a danger to all who oppose him, looking towards those stairs. Gare will pop up, but just die to Father. And now the plant being attempted. It's Cruz finding a kill. The refrag from Font is there onto the said Cruz. And now in a post-plant 1v4, work is going to be on the menu for Font.
And he doesn't put in that work, and 96 Bulls now on match point. But as we said, it is a close game. Paradox does have this chance to come back, and they're taking their timeout. You know how it goes. You take your timeout, you win the round. That's just Siege logic. That's usually how it goes. But Paradox, they're just reassuring themselves, hey, we got this. We can win this round just to send it to overtime, and then we can win this game to take it even farther. But if you're on that defense, you can't be giving up them early picks like that. We saw Fizzy just walking up red stairs. Seems like he had no clue really where anybody was, and then he got swung by the Sens, just putting him right in the dirt. And it's just somebody that important. You can't be losing early on.
Want to keep that man advantage, or at least refrag the man. Get it to a 4-4. So much better than a 4-5, is just one extra angle that they can hold that you can't, can be a real big issue later into the round. So Paradox definitely using this timeout to talk about what they can do. They've been very successful on their defenses for the most part. In fact, well, winning the majority of them at this point. 4 in a row they had. Now they've just got to win one more. That will send them to OT. It'll be Reading Room Fireplace they opt to go to, and this will be their final chance to go to OT for 96 Bulls, a 7-5 victory. Kind of where they were sitting at a 5-1 would have been probably sitting in the back of their mind at the outcomes of this map. You don't expect after that explosive half you'd see Paradox come back this hard, but in all reality they have, and they're continuing to do so. I could definitely see them heading into overtime, but they've got to prove that right here, right now.
Yeah, and last time that Paradox went this site, they did take it in a sweeping fashion. So hopefully they're going to be able to do that again, as we're going to see the...
Yeah. Well, looks like Tiggy has left the server. Hey, he's back. Tiggy, welcome back. We missed you for about half a second there.
Thank you. I am back. But as I was saying, we're going to see those cast barricades going up to block off lines of sight, doorways, and, just burn utility in general. And we're going to see this pixel shield being set up to do the exact same thing. And we're going to have the Warden. And maybe he can do what he did a couple rounds ago and pull off that triple kill that we saw upstairs.
Yeah, Font, definitely a standout player. There's just no doubt about it. I often say how in a best of one, it's all about how you start the round. If you can get that early momentum, you can really push it for the victory. And that's what 96 Bulls did, but perhaps I've been leading them all astray. Paradox White, just one round away from continuing what would be an insane comeback. I mean, it would be an insane comeback, being able to match that 5-1 that they took. And this is going to be where the rubber hits the road for the final time in regulation. It's going to be, though, Rez opening up onto Gare, taking it to the immediate 5-4. The castle, though, not the worst operator to lose.
Well, already starting out worse than what they had last time in a 4v5 disadvantage, but it is your castle. He's got all his utility down. He was basically just an extra gun at this point. It's not the smoke that you lost early on. That would probably be the worst that you could lose, and thankfully he's safely downstairs. But now Fawn is just all alone upstairs taking on Tagger. He gets one on Rez, and now he's looking for more. Back off down to White. Seems like he's gonna just start to play the safer position.
By those stacks, yeah. Font has been a real game changer in this series. There's no doubt about that. We saw Gar as well be pretty dang phenomenal, but unfortunately the castle is dead. Rez, though, is an amazing pick to take off the board. Father looks to avenge their death, taking an insane amount of damage instead, not dealing any back, as there is another, the double kill from Font, continuing to put the pressure on, and still he's going to be that menace. Now onto those white stairs, backs off. Remember, we're not even attacking upstairs. We're actually playing downstairs, and Jelly doesn't find the kill onto Cruz. Cruz starts to make that move. They've still got a lot of pressure upstairs, though, and having those operators who can crush you on a late roam is going to be a really big problem coming into later seconds.
And with 55 seconds left, you don't have anything to open these floors up, as the last Flores drone was used. You do have that hatch open, though, so that's a possible point of entry, but we do see the smoke watching that entryway, and now we see Fonnet walking down white stairs, taking a Cruz, leaving them in essentially a 2v3 left to find a Father on 25 HP, and then Tech on full HP with 2 flashbangs left, but 20 seconds left. We're going to see Fizzy being taken down, leaving them in now an actual 2v3, but not a lot of time with smoke still left on the board.
10 seconds to go. There's a push in. Lech finds the kill onto Tech, Font onto Father, and now Cruz with little to no HP and no plant to put down will lose the round. So overtime is secured. An amazing job from those Paradox players. They fought very valiantly to get to this position, and they definitely earned it. Again, showing us just how good this defensive side could be, but 96 Bulls for overtime start on the defense. And what that means is for Paradox to win, they're going to have to somehow overcome that massive, disgustingly scary 96 Bulls defense. That's a huge advantage for the Bulls. Let's see if they take advantage of it.
Paradox has got that confidence back, though. Now they got that extra round to work with. they can try and, I wouldn't suggest experimenting while you're in OT, but they played against this now for the 12 rounds in regulation. They've adapted, as to say, onto how these guys are going to be playing. So whether 96 Bulls chooses to keep up that aggression or not is really up to them, but it's also up to Paradox to, hey, they're going to do this, this, and this. We can get some early picks off, say a spawn peak or some aggression right underneath the red hatches we saw earlier this game, but we haven't seen that yet. But let's look out for that. And these are the stories we like to see.
Absolutely. It's been a phenomenal game so far. Font for Paradox Y, I would say, is the player to watch at this point. 7-3. Before we had the rehost, was around 9 kills. So far about 16, give or take. In tremendous fragger. And Rez already taking a significant amount of damage. Most likely trying to get an early spawn peak. They need to be careful. Rez was a standout, as was Tech. Since that rehost, they've both fallen a little bit from grace. Honestly, since we switched onto the attacking side for them. But now when they're back on the defense, can they get this? You mentioned Paradox at this point have so much just potential to work with and a lot of momentum pushing them forward. And they definitely could just steamroll the 96 Bulls if they aren't careful.
And they have all their ops on the board for the first time within the first 2 minutes, so that is already an improvement. And they hopefully they're gonna start to push this open, but they do not have a hard breacher to get that cigar wall open. So that is going to make their jobs a lot more difficult. But Shelly's going to take down Rez right away from the skylight, and that's a 1-my. You don't want to be losing somebody like that right away. As he's still a disc to be placing down there, and with Fonnet still on the board with 2 frag grenades, you have plenty of potential to be burning all that utility with the 5 flashbangs still in pocket, and the 2 smoke grenades, and the 4 lifelines coming from Zofia. But it all depends, because it looks like they are going for a window take with the Osa. As we've mentioned, she is very powerful in this lineup.
It's Father finding the refrag onto Gare, so taking down that Osa no longer will her shields be a big issue. Just a minute and 15 to go now as Cruz holding out inside Cigar Lounge. He's moved a little bit away from that position he was holding on Pixel, getting a little bit more aggressive. Fizzy downstairs, they've decided to make a different entrance, which honestly, a great idea. That red drop has been a death trap. So having a couple of different angles, like Font is showing us here, can certainly break up that kind of meat grinder they've been jumping into round after round.
Yeah, and we'd never like to see that just falling straight onto this, but I like the way Paradox is taking this. Let's try different points of attack. We got 2 people on windows. We got Fizzy still on the roof looking for an entry point, possibly on the. I guess Fizzy's downstairs and Jelly is on the roof, but he is taking some damage from that skylight side. But 30 seconds left. We're seeing the smoke canister starting to be thrown out. It is time for Paradox to start to make a move, as you cannot stall any longer. The diffuser will not plant itself.
Jelly might be just hopping down into Skylight and going for the plant here. Font tries to cover that, but with Jelly dead, that might be the round over. I think, no, the diffuser is downstairs, and there's kills from Font as well as Fizzy. Down to the 2v2. Letro's on the floor, though, and Font has no time. 96 Bulls will find themselves a win. Unfortunate, it kind of seemed like an interesting attack as they didn't bring out any hard breachers. It forced them into some interesting and intriguing lines of sight and jump-ins. And, well, unfortunately for Fizz, just couldn't stick the landing hopping through that skylight.
What it all came down to was just that delay of time. It didn't seem like they were confident in any of these pushes that they were doing, as they couldn't do their traditional stuff, and they just weren't being fed these free picks. As they're sitting in the window, they're just hoping, hey, just somebody just peek me, just trying to get that confidence back for their team to start to fly in through these windows. And now you're left with 15 seconds left on the board, and you see Jelly just trying to drop down Skylight, because you got to do something at this point. And that's what's really been falling apart for Paradox. It's just the delay of time on some of their attacks have just been, to put it, horrendous, I guess. As when the last time they were on attack, they fell 1-5, and
Well, that's a difficult thing, right? Because in this 3-round overtime, it's not infinite, as far as I know. Yeah, the match point is going to be huge for 96 Bulls. They can try to push it to an 8-6 victory, but even if they lose here and we go to 7-7, they'll be switching back onto the defense for the final round of OT, which, given the current circumstances with both teams pulling 5-1s on their defensive halves, gives them such an advantage. Now look at these operators that are being brought out. We see the Ying, we see the Sens, we even see a little bit of the, of that Amaru coming through. So could be some aggression here, could be some blinding flashes, but Font is a direct counter, and Font is also a direct counter to anyone he faces because the guy's a gunner.
Hey, with being up to 17 kills now, you can't. You got to give it to him. He's just been a menace to this entire 96 Bulls team, but we got to see what he's going to do against this rush form lineup. You know, you got the Sens to block off the lines of sight for these attackers. You got the Amaru just to rush in either through a window or up a hatch. And then we got Ying just to blind everybody. So you're not going to be able to see anything, you're not going to be able to hear anything, and you're not going to be able to see fight back as the bullets are being shot at you through the windows. But as you can see, there's 3 of them just sitting on the window side of this map doing the same thing as they did last round. Besides the Buck hanging below, he could be a very big asset going into this round for them.
A little bit of that verticality coming through from the Skeleton Key. Always fun to see. It displaces those defenders a little bit, but there's a nade from Rez that'll... Letcher O'Gare is on the refrag, taking down that way. That'll be the Ying out of play, a very important piece in the puzzle, but Rez continues to get the frags on. Jelly falls, but Font is still alive, and at this point, all eyes on Font. He could be the saving grace for this team here. Gare and Fizzy definitely not slouches in their own right, but there's something different about this Font guy, just built a little bit diff. However, Fizzy falls to Rez. Now, in the 2v4, Font and Gare are all they have left.
And we've talked a lot about Font, but Gare, he's been doing a great job as well, you know, helping his team out with those ADSs, and look at that. Automatically evening up the score line. Now going to be 50 seconds left, even score, and we have the Sens just rushing the site, being able to pick off Father, and now it's just Fonnet left. We've talked about him. He's up to 18 kills. Is he going to be able to make it 20? That is the big question on everybody's mind with 30 seconds left. He knows where Rez is. Is he going to be able to get the swing? He does get the swing on him. And the plant does go down from Father. No utility left, as those canister or those hard breach tools will no longer be impactful to him at this point in time, but looks like he's stuck in cocktail right now. Just standing on the diffuser. 30 seconds left remaining on the diffuse time. Hugging that wall in white could be very dangerous for him. And no, he is going to get taken out by Father. Fonnet does win that. Congratulations to 96 Bulls taking it home today.
A great job. Hard-fought victory indeed. They take it 8-6 after it's all said and done. It was a battle for the ages. Paradox fought so hard, but in the end, it was Father who would stand tall. Great games. Love to see a little bit of cafe. Always jump into there, and they definitely took us on a wild ride. It was a roller coaster the entire time, but the 8-6 victory certainly gives the points to the guys on 96 Bulls, but Paradox should be able to walk away with one as well. So phenomenal game played by both sides, but I wonder how it would have changed had we not seen the toxicity in chat. Would Paradox still have been able to fight their way to OT?
I think they would have pulled it out, you know. After that, they did realize, hey, this is what we need to fix, and they managed to pull it into that. So we got to give them credit for that. They didn't just lose in a 7-1 blowout, as we did expect from the original standings, which I'm sure 96 Bulls would have preferred to just have without wasting that extra time for them. But it did give us, you know, more of a show. You know, we got to see some double kills, some triple kills, and just some all-out good attacks, defenses. Just seeing how all these players play.
A lot of standout players. There's no doubt about that. Font throughout the entire game. Just a gunner. Got to, I believe, 19 kills as it came down to the 1v1. Of course, with the rehouse, throws everything off a little bit, but without a doubt, somebody to watch out for as the season progresses. But that's our first game of the night done and dusted, put away on the shelf. We have one more coming through, so we are going to kick it to a break. But after that break, we'll come back for Homeland Academy taking on the Fraud Watch. So don't go too far. Xenon will be right back with more Siege.
Show me loving. I need your loving. 'Cause I'm drowning in something and I can't come out. Just show me loving. I need your loving. Me, myself, ain't enough. It's like being a dog to a crushing heart. I want you to know how bad it hurts. If you keep it beside along my heart. Oh, 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 are you dreaming of me now? The way I do. Oh, 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 are you dreaming of me now? The way I do. Hold me, lover. I need you, lover. 'Cause I'm falling in too quickly and I can't break free. Just hold me, lover. I need you, lover. Me, myself, ain't enough. It's like being alone in a crashing car. I need you to know how bad it hurts. Hearing the sound of my broken heart. Oh, 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 are you dreaming of me now? The way I do. Oh, 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 are you dreaming of me now? The way I do. If you text me, say you need me. Even if it ain't real, you're just missing me. I'll be on the way, we'll spin and get it free. I'll be here. Spending time on the right sheets. We ain't tired, but act like we need to sleep. Then I think about your body, feel your fantasies. We don't sleep, we can't sleep. Split highs with you. In the bed, in the pool. Moods on too. Tell me what you need, 'cause I need you, baby. I'll set the cards to red. Temperature 68. A bed made for two. Say what you need, 'cause I need you, baby. I can make it like a dream for you. Like a fantasy that just came true. Right now, feeling when you say ooh. La 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 la. I'm a label you from the left side. Keep you close, kinda for the whole night. No, you know, because it feels like ooh. La 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 la
now doing no crossfire being held here, but that's him being traded out. Now it's a 1v1 situation. It's all on him. If he loses this, it is now another tied game. Or it's the route. Oh my god! They're allowing Monster to free fire and take him out. That's the Monster.
Unfreaking believable. Top of his head. You didn't see it, but he gets the kill!
No, pick it up in the first time. The shot is there though. It's a massive quad, and Snowy will somehow clutter place. The shotgun goes in res onto another. It's a 3v2. Scudder continues to shut it down, and it's all over. Mr. Pang finished the game, and there it is.
Hello and welcome to XGS Season 3, Week 1, Playday 2. It is 2057 right now. It's a beautiful sunny day here. And I'm joined today by my fellow caster, Slay. This way.
See what I do? I usually, if you look that way, you do a little test beforehand. All right, you just kind of look and then you check the screen so you know which way to point. Just in the future, some quick tips to get you down there. But we are ready for game 2 of tonight's series. Another best of 1, this time between Fraudwatch and Homeland Academy. Should be phenomenal from what we've heard. Homeland Academy seems to be pretty dang good. Fraudwatch, not too much information, so we'll be watching them closely tonight, but we still need to jump in and find out what our maps are going to be. As I say so it appears. Where are we going?
Chalet. Come on. Let me see Chalet. I know I said it last game, but let's hope no Oregon. All right, well, borders off the board. That's one of the newer maps in the map pool. Maybe we can see some skyscrapers, some theme park thrown in there. Not a lot of teams practice or scrim that as much as I've noticed, But some teams got some strats.
Some teams do have strats, but apparently not for theme park with the Fraud Watchers, as they'll ban it out. Next up, Homeland Academy will make their decision. That's sad.
I'm never right, man. This is sad. Let's just hope no Oregon. Maybe a club.
We've still got club on the board. We also have cafe on the board where we just went to. If you're just getting here, last game was between the 96 Bulls and Paradox White. It was an 8-6 victory in favor. Oh, goodbye Clubhouse. In favor of 96 Bulls. That was on Cafe. And hey, Cafe is still one of the 3 maps that is left up. With Clubhouse gone and Skyscraper gone, it comes down to Oregon or Cafe.
I'd rather go to Cafe. That was an exhilarating game that we saw last time. So, see. And we're going to Snorrigan. All right. Well, we all know how this map plays out, right? Downstairs, go through blue. Sometimes you just rush through and you either kill them all or you all die. That's basement for you, folks.
There it is. Well, I mean, Oregon, unfortunately, it is going to be one of those maps that teams love to go to. Same with Clubhouse. Well, you mentioned Clubhouse starting to maybe fall off a little bit, but there are always those maps that people love to be in. And apparently the game's been started and we're already midway through a round. That's exciting. The bans apparently were Thatcher, Finca yet again, Mira, and Kaid. So some quick information for you there as we're right into round number 1. Good grief.
Well,
so interestingly enough, the Finca ban we saw last map as well.
Well, we're gonna see Finca off the board immediately, so that's gonna be one of those ops that we didn't see last game as well. We're getting rid of that, immediate entry frag grenades, gone 6 off the board, 100 bullets, 3 adrenaline surges to heal. That's 60 HP for everybody on your team, and that could be a detriment to Homeland Academy, but they are bringing out a substitute LMG with that Capiteo, as he does have those fire bolts or in the smoke.
Well, one of their SMGs is dead. Mute with refrag, though. You can't name yourself Mute. I'm sorry, that's illegal, especially when you're playing R6. That's Yana finding the kill onto the Valkyrie. So Valkyrie left on the board. We saw the Kaid banned out, which makes sense. Kaid on board while Thatcher's off board makes it incredibly difficult to make much headway attacking downstairs, which, as we see, we are. A lot of information to be gained here as we kind of hopped in unexpectedly, but either way about it, about halfway through round number 1. So far, it's still that 4v4, but we're starting to see the attackers look to move downstairs. Defense still have angles, holding it out. They're ready for Homeland's approach.
Yeah, and with being an even matchup already, we're going to start to see, this start of push down to Freezer. Let's get this push down to backstairs. Let's just start to kind of fold onto these attackers, and Mute's going to get folded himself. And now we just got the back push going and the hatches going down. So 45 seconds left. Let's see what these firebolts are going to be able to pull out from these guys.
Right now, Homeland have advantage of man, and the time as well beginning to bleed in. Lucas starts to make those treacherous way down the stairs. He'll fall, die, and Harry Potter, it's Stir finding the kill. The 4-2 doesn't look very good. Angon still has the defuser, and what a kill he'll find. Gunrider very low at HP as well. The 2v3, but time is going to be an issue. Angon says the man advantage no longer an issue we'll deal with. Brings it to the 2v2, but different angles to watch, and he won't find the correct one. It'll be Olold finding the double kill to end round 1.
Great job from the defense there, just to be able to hold off this attack. We're shutting them that freezer push very early on. We're not going to have to be worrying about this angles, but also Homeland Security just dropping down the hatch. I don't know what they all had for drone work going on, but I feel like they could have come up with something better than just, all right, let's just drop the hatch and hope for kills, which it started to work out for them, but you get down to that last 15 seconds, you don't have the time to, be checking every angle, and you just start to kind of fall into this panic.
Well, it is very difficult to attack downstairs, as you mentioned. I mean, we all know Oregon. We all know it as that defender-sided map that just constantly needs the attack to do something crazy to find a couple of round wins. And those 2 big-ticket sites, even though all of them are pretty dang viable for a defense, are downstairs in laundry and upstairs in the kids' dorm, which is where Fraud Watch will take us next. Looking at the operator lineup, the Valkyrie, always fun to see. Those black eye cameras can give so much extra information, and they're difficult to spot out as well. The Wamai, as well as the Jaeger, come in to mitigate the amount of nades and different throwables that can be tossed in, as well as we saw, we won't see this time, but we did see the Capital being brought in last round. Wamai Disc can pick those up, so could be some good integration there. Right now, Homeland are going to be looking to crack the code and find themselves a round victory.
Yeah, let's hope they can do a little bit better job than they did last round, as, they're already down 1-0, which is not a great position to be in, but now you're going to have to dealing with the Valkyrie sitting up here in tower. That's going to be a tough cookie to crack, as now you only have those, or you do have 4 sets of nades to try and clear them out, but it is just utility wasting at this point, as Valkyrie has already got her cameras set down, and you're just going to kill somebody for their nitro cell, which, speaking of which, that is gone out the board. So Valkyrie is just a free gun body at this point, and she is gone with 2 minutes left on the clock for them. Do still have Stridon roaming around downstairs, but
a little bit of time wasted on that roam. Of course, when you're doing something like that, you're looking to waste time. You're looking to get maybe a kill as well. Be sturdy, avenging their fallen teammate. The Zofia falls early on again for Homeland, which is always unfortunate. The LMGE, an incredible weapon. Aloyd is going to just be able to back on off as the walk-in wall is opened. Brucey's still on that roam downstairs. You see Gunn doing a little bit of hard breaching himself onto that attic wall, and the master push is beginning to come in force too. So Homeland making some significant moves, but Lopez continues to put the hurt on. That'll be Mute falling. It's a 4v3.
Now we're going to see this pinch push coming from, the game's wall is open now, and we're also going to see attic getting open. So this can really put the defenders in a tight position, as now you're having to worry about 2 points of attack coming from the attackers, but with a minute remaining on the clock, the attackers don't have much time to keep delaying, and now Lucas is going to start trying to flush out this smoke, but Lopez just putting up the smoke to try and prevent him, and there goes down your thermite. You just have this attic push to worry about. Now in a 3v2, and now it's just up to a 1v3, and that is not going to be working out. Fraud Watch already up 2-0 against Homeland Academy.
Sturdy picks up the triple K, but the 2-0 shouldn't be too worrying at this point. You are on the attack of Oregon, and, well, typically you're looking for a 4-2 split, and usually those 2 rounds come from the offside or the tertiary side, which is where we'll be heading to now. But the difficult thing about Oregon is that it can tend to be a little bit more defender-sided in the fact that even the tertiary bomb site doesn't feel too weak compared to the others. It can still be held nicely, and, well, if Homeland can't crack this one, then we could be getting into issues. Fraud Watch have looked so strong up to this point after 2 rounds. Aloyd as well as Sturdy, both with significant amounts of kills, bringing out the Thunderbird this time. Let's see if Homeland can strike back. I like these ops though. The Legion can slow them down, get information out as well. We don't see him played as much with the T5 SMG, one of my favorites to come through. However, it'll be the Wamai as our only form of utility denial, picking up any throwables.
Yeah, and I think this round is going to be the best round for Homeland to be taking, as you also have to defend upstairs attic and kids just to try and prevent that vertical play. So the Fraudwatch has to spread themselves kind of thin here if they want to keep all that control, which allows Fraudwatch or Homeland's Academy, sorry, to just kind of isolate all these roamers and just take them on these 2v1 gunfights, 3v1 gunfights, or just clear them out with utility. And that is what makes this site, obviously a tertiary site, as you're having to do extra work for a bomb site just to prevent, one little thing from happening to you. But seems like Fraudwatch might have the calls on this, as we do see the Legion swing onto Lucas here, and Lucas will be put into the dirt.
Lucas falls. Brucey looks to finish him off with the impact, does take down the sledge. ISO, though, is going to be killed by Engon. The refrag is there. C4 looks to be tossed out, but it'll actually be a kill from Harbor, taking down Sturdy. Homeland Academy looking much stronger this round, as we have the fuse coming through and Aloyd falls to Engon. Now the double kill for Eng, starting to do work. Brucey, what a swing with the Melusi. Finds one, finds two, the triple for Bruce, as he absolutely denies the man advantage that Homeland had been gearing up to take, but Mute takes it right on back. Now it's Lopez, the only hope for Fraudwatch to find themselves in a 3-0 fashion, and well, Harbor and Mute, both of full HP, both very scary operators, are going to make that difficult to do so.
Yeah, but with a minute 20 left for the attackers to work with, they have 3 drones left on the board, and now Lopez is stuck on that 1 HP, and Fuse is just going to keep raining from the ceiling. This is going to be very hard. Yet he does have the Thunderburst to go and try and heal himself up, but it does look like these attackers are going to get ready for an Attic drop, which he does have a Nitro Cell. This could be a great chance for him to, maybe throw the Nitro Cell up the attic, but it doesn't look like he's going to do so.
Those Kona stations are coming in big as well. The drop actually works, though, as Mute just falls on through the hatch, somehow dodges the spray, and through the couch gets the kill. That's one way to do it, is traditionally falling through a hatch while somebody's watching it is usually a death sentence. Well, you would hope for the second player to follow up, getting that kill. Mute just does it both, and Fraudwatch's victory streak is cut down to 2, so honestly, pretty expected, pretty traditional of an Oregon map so far. Let's see as we head back downstairs to Laundry Supply if it continues to go that way.
And hopefully it does for Fraudwatch, as this was the first site they won. They won it with, I would like to say flying colors. They did end it in a 3-0. They did defend it pretty well with, just the time delay, forcing them to take these last seconds drops down the hatch, running down backstairs. Just kind of isolating all these attackers into positions they don't really want to be in at that last second chance, as you're just trying to get the diffuser down or cover your fellow comrade to, try and get this diffuser down. So as long as they can pull that off, which it looks like they're going to try to with that Goyle, he's got 4 canisters to delay this attack, got the Melusi Banshees, and you have the smokes. In total, that's probably about a minute or so of delay, just let alone. And then you also have 5 guns on the board to try and slow these attackers down, but they're going to opt to not have any primary hard breach. They're going to opt to bring out a Ying instead, which we have seen quite a bit downstairs.
Well, they don't have a different operator coming in. We don't see the Warden. And check out these little fun face cams we get of the gamers. Look at them go. Homeland Academy prepared and ready to try to find themselves another round win. As I mentioned before, typically the 4-2 split comes because the defense wins their first 2 sides. Harbor getting into a gunfight with that Goyo early on. The Vector, not a weapon I'd really want to deal with, but his location will be pinged out thanks to that Jackal. So at this point, Homeland information, and they're going to try to continue to push that. ISO doesn't seem so quick to fall off, though, still holding the angle on those stairs.
Oh, and it's oh, I'm stuttering. Mute's gonna take a swing onto the Melusi on white stairs, and now he's gonna be stuck on that 1 HP as he's gonna start to get pinched into a corner here. We did kind of see something like this last round, but he did manage to come out on top with a double kill. And will he be able to do it again? Does not look so, as he is gonna be to opt to fall back, leave to downstairs.
So at this point, still just about half the round to go. You've got defenders all the way on the top floor. It's ISO finding a nice kill onto Ancon. Man, might have been written off as dead, but it's Lucas, pardon me, finding the refrag right back onto Sturdy. So the Melusi dead. 4-4, keeping it nice and tight. 1:20 to go. We're starting to see those hatches be attacked by our dear friend, the Hibana. ISO has rotated all the way back, and now you can see that Goyo shield on the, or Goyo canister on the stairs can be popped in, as Tiggy mentioned, waste a lot of time.
I mean, one of those great factors is this attack just starts to barely get into freezer, as we do see Mute yet again just walking into this freezer willy-nilly, but hopefully this time doesn't get swung by OLED. But it is looking like he is going to be facing some challenges as he tries to push forward here. With 45 seconds left in the clock, they still have a lot of utility to clear, and they have 4 defenders to also clear out. With so much time delaying utility, will they be able to do it? As we're starting to see, smoke canisters also start to come out.
Ooh. Lloyd, as well as Mute, find a little bit of a trade. It'll be ISO, though, taking Mute down to the 3v2 with time ticking and man count just evaporating. Lucas and Gunn have so much to do. Lucas does find the kill, bringing it down to that 2v2, but as you said, the time wasting could be huge here. The M590 combo with that carbine gets the kills, and the round is over in favor of Fraudwatch. They'll bring it up to a 3-1 lead for themselves, continuing to show just how good they can be. But again, the big question is, can Homeland catch up and grab a tertiary site, or can they even snag this secondary site and throw Fraudwatch into a little bit of a difficult position?
Maybe one of those great things to see, as hopefully they're gonna be able to fix their mistake of just waiting to that last second push. As we saw last round, they waited to the last minute to push. So hopefully here they don't continue to keep wasting all that time and then leaving it down to those last 60 seconds with all that time wasting utility. But Fraudwatch did a very good job of defending this site last time with just opening frags, and Sturdy's just running around the map trying to kill people and just delay, like I said, delay as much time as possible. That is the name of the defending game here.
No doubt about that. Delay time, pick up a couple of kills if you can. The roamers have a difficult job, but looking at the way the kills are spread out from Fraudwatch, everybody seems to be doing their load. Everyone is getting out there and getting those frags. Nobody really falling off too far, which is always fun to see. Doesn't always matter in Rainbow Six Siege, as there are plenty of different ways to play, plenty of different roles for the team, but when you've got all 5 members being a threat, you become a difficult team to manage. For Homeland Academy, we can see that a little bit, but most of the kills have come from Mute and Angon. Certainly the fraggers of this group, despite Angon playing one of the hard supporters with that case playing on the Thermite.
Hey, don't put down the fragmite. Those are the #1 players to your team. They frag and they open your walls. What more could you ask for in the player? But maybe Homeland is falling victim to their own ban of just banning Finka out, as she is, as I said, one of the strong operators for the attacking side at this current point in time. But then again, it was their choice to ban it out. So that the only blame that they can do is put it on themselves, and Mute will fall victim to Brucey as he runs out Armory window and gets back safely inside.
Well, that'll take one of the big names out. Your Mute dead, so Fragmite will have to certainly lift the load, but I'll be looking towards the other members of the Academy to be putting in the work. 2, Harbor looks to find one, but it's still a Fragmite doing work. Bruce is a great pick off the board. That Jaeger has been trouble since we first saw them play. 1:40, and it's a C4 from below from ISO that takes down Ankon. Now the 4v3 is going to be difficult. Those refrags have got to come in, and Sturdy will be that refrag. Harbor, with that LMG, begins to make some moves.
That information game is just so good from the side of Fraud Watch. They're identifying where all these attackers are. They know where they're pushing from, and now yet again they're delaying to the last minute to keep this push going. And looks like they're even starting to abandon this attic push, as we do see Gun trying to go to a satellite window, but failing to pick off the Valkyrie of ISO. Now.
Well, there's Lucas getting the refrag onto Lopez, but ISO falls as well. Harbor starting to open up. Lucas now dead to Oloid. Oloid, the final hope for this team with a lot of time left and the plant being attempted. Here's a swing looking to the walk-in. Takes a lot of damage, but a different angle might be useful. Miss the shot. It'll instead be the head found of that Wamai, as we see Homeland step up and take a great attacking win on what is usually a site the defense would love to continue to take. Now, Fraud Watch, they will return to kids' dorms for another chance.
And now, as you talked about earlier, possibly going to that 4-2, or maybe even possibly ending the side with a 3-3 split, as Homeland's Academy would be heading into the defense, which on this map is more favored. So that would be a humongous advantage for them, even though it seems to not be. But when most of the scoreline on this map does turn out to be 4-2, I would see it turning into Homeland's favor. But they got to pull through this round before we can even talk about that. As looks like we're gonna have the same exact lineup coming out from Fraud Watch. See ISO bring that information game, and hopefully they're gonna be able to counter the C4 this time. But only time will tell.
Only time will tell. That C4 from always so exciting to see. C4s are one of those treats that you really can't refrag them when they're from that verticality standpoint. So hard to get that refrag on when the player could have just tossed it and ran away into the woods, gone forever. So always fun to see Fraud Watch pull something like that. But Homeland still able to win the round off is huge. Now, with this lineup, as you mentioned, it's the same as what we've seen before. Homeland Academy, they could play this and find themselves in that 3-3, but Fraud Watch, will they adapt their play style, if not the operators, to find this win? ISO looking aggressive. The jump out is caught by the Claymore, and ISO will fall. Harbor survives to live another day.
That really feels hard, as that is that C4 that we were talking about earlier, down the drain, and now you're down a player with only a minute burnt off the clock, and you still have two people roaming off site. This is a great time for the attack to start, let's take some room, but Sturdy refrags right back with that Nomad on the flank watch, and going to make it a lot more difficult with two defenders still roaming around downstairs.
Yeah, Sturdy could be an issue. Angon begins to open up onto that. Walk-in is always such an important wall to open up. Gives you so many different avenues to get angles as well as get that plant down. And you can see the information game is huge here. Harbor droning out as well as the Yana clone getting all sorts of goodies to look at. With 1:30 to go, half the round still remains. A lot of opportunities for both sides to take control. Mute doing a little bit of a peek on. They know where some of these players are, but the roamers could still be an issue. Sturdy on that first floor.
He could become a humongous pain in the defender side or the attacker side, as he may not even get a kill, but he's just going to be in the back of their mind as you see he's taking some damage. But now you're going to have to dedicate Gun or Mute to either watching that flank watch at this point in time. But looks like Gun's going to be on the hunt for him downstairs. Sturdy's not going to notice, and now that's going to put Fraud Watch in a disadvantage with an entire minute left in the clock, but two smoke canisters still left in the pocket of Lopez. Going to be interesting to see what they try to accomplish with all this.
Yeah, with 40 seconds left on the clock, Homeland have a man advantage, but you've still got those defenders tucked up nicely, getting the plant down is always step number one. Brucey will watch towards that angle though, and if they enter in, they could feel the fury of that carbine. Lopez as well holding out right now. None of the defenders are being contested, but they will shortly as time ticks to under 15 seconds to go. There's a shot from Brucey, evening it up. Oiloid finds one, and Gun with the refrag. There's a shot, bang on the floor, but Gun brings it to the 1v1. The pickup doesn't happen, and maybe it should have, as Oiloid is waiting into his line of sight and falls. Fraudwatch find that round, and they'll be able to take themselves a 4-2 half heading into their attacking side.
Homeland Academy was so close onto securing that, but I think what it all comes down to is you delay so much time. You know, you're just waiting outside this breach, and your IGL is like, guys, you guys got 30 seconds to push in. Let's try and execute this and this. You just don't have the time, so you kind of start to get sloppy with it, and then you just lose all these people because all your defenders that you're up against are just holding all your angles. And you got to try and win those gunfights. And with 30 seconds left in the round, you got to get the plant down. It's just too much work in such a little amount of time that I don't think anybody is expected to try to accomplish that. I think if Homeland could just start to maybe speed up their attacks a little bit, as they are getting map control pretty fast, as it's looking like, as you know, we saw ISO finished off right away, but as they're switching sides, it's not going to really matter as much anymore.
Oloid and Brucey have been definite standouts. At the same time, I mentioned early on that Fraudwatch had kind of everybody on that same level. It's shifted a little bit more towards Homeland, have definitely picked it up with where people are getting those kills. We've got 3 of them on 5s, Gun on 4, and yet Fraudwatch still were able to secure the 4-2. We'll see what happens, though, on their attacking side, because that really is the big question, right? That really is where the rubber needs to hit the road. Homeland Academy, they can do a lot of work on these defenses. The last thing they want to do is allow Fraudwatch to get a couple of rounds where they shouldn't. Keep them to that 4-2 storyline. Don't allow them to pick up too many in a row. Easier said than done, but that's going to be Homeland's best bet at bringing this to a closer game.
Yeah, and right now we're looking at this lineup. We got a bunch of utility clear, and we got Ash, Sophia, Yana, and we got Twitch on the board. All great utility clearing potential. As we see, you got the alibi for that information. You know, you just might randomly shoot it. It happens. You got ADS clears that you can use to get those nades into sight, but speaking of nades, the impact grenade's going to miss. Thermite's going to get that wall open. That's going to be a humongous advantage to Homeland with 2 minutes still left on the clock. Or disadvantage.
Yeah, it's
and they get that wall open.
Lucky that Gunrider even got away after failing to impact Trick, but that is a massive angle. You see that window being opened up as well. Mute, however, is still downstairs. Could be an issue later on into this round. ISO holding the angle on Big Window with that F2. You'll love to see a little bit of Twitch gameplay as Bruce looks on through to sight. Lucas, though, finds that first frag onto Sturdy. The Ash is dead. The alibi, ever constant, ever an issue for players. That MX4 Storm, just disgusting. And Lucas has an audio cue as well as a visual cue at where his next target might be coming in from. With 1:12 to go, Bruce will instead get the refrag, but immediately fall to Mute in this back and forth game that still ends in Homeland Academy having the man advantage with 1 minute to go.
Minute to go. We got a 3v4, and you're still worried about Mute. He does have that C4, and he's going to be playing below with it, ready for you to try and go plant default. And now you got to be thinking, do we have the time to go and plant? But there goes Mute right off the board from ISO, and there goes your Thermite from Lopez just off the board, and we're just going to try and rush into sight. Now we just got ISO left in this 2v3 or 1v2. It'd be difficult to find all these kills.
Not easy at all, but hey, taking down the player with the most HP certainly helps. Gunrider as well as Harbor both have around 20 to work with, while ISO, low on time, certainly has weaponry that can blow you sky high. That F2, a phenomenal gun, but the swing comes in. One is below the bunk bed, steps up, and Gunrider secures the kill. Excellent job by Homeland securing that win. Has got to feel good for them, but you couldn't tell by their faces. They're stone baked into how important this game is. They want to get those early into the season and just establish who they are and what their team stands for. Heading downstairs will be their next objective down to laundry supply.
Those faces just show we're not ready to celebrate till we take this W. They're not ready to eat till they take this W. It's the face of victors. You know, they're gonna do whatever it takes to try and win this out. And Homeland from that first round, it already looked great from them. Besides the thermite wall getting open right away, everything else looked amazing from the flanks to, you know, just the gunplay in general and the utilization of that time delaying utility from the smoke on that side. But now we're heading downstairs and we're going to see how they utilize that utility as we do see Goyo and Smoke yet again. Just
Always fun to see those two operators. As you mentioned, the amount of time that they can delay together is just ridiculous. They have both of the SMG 11 bros, both of them with the M590. Sometimes you'll see the Mute come out with the MP5K. Not this time. It'll be instead Wamai with that MP5. So a lot of shotguns and, well, hopefully that's going to be able to do them well. Love to see the Goyo every now and again. Haven't seen him too much, but he's a good operator. Doesn't have those shields that go with his Vulcan canisters, but can still be a huge asset to any team in delaying time, especially in the tight, choked up corners and angles of this site.
they're one of those great things that you can just fall back onto, especially even if you're in a man disadvantage. They can just cut off an entire exit or entrance for either side, you know, because they can be used by those attackers as well. So it's a blessing but a curse, as we would say. But so we're starting to see some early entries, and there goes Brucey right off the board.
Feels bad. Gunrider just rips through him. That's a big fragger as well. Brucey, a phenom so far. So to lose your Zofia doesn't feel very good. Lopez will focus on other tasks, opening up these hatches. The Hibana, that's her job. That's what she excels at. And what Homeland need to do is continue to compound those kills. But Oloid, with a nasty little angle, finds Lucas just napping about inside a freezer. Now it's a 4v4. Good refrags, quick refrags. That's what you love to see. And Oloid is on the hunt. He's got some nice reticle placement. He knows where these players are going to be. Heads are going to be popping up, and he's ready to pop any of them that show their faces.
Another thing I like to see is this quick map control from him. You know, Sturdy's already got bottom launcher control. Oloid already has freezer control. They're pushing these defenders into kind of this tight ball. And now they're just, you know, they're stuck in all these positions. They're going to start stepping over each other's feet. You might even get them into a double, but Mute's just going to swing onto Oloid and take him out in freezer. And that's going to give up that entire map control over there that you had. That's why you got to back your teammates up.
As well as both of those big top fraggers that we've seen. A smoke canister is going to push out Sturdy's positioning, and ISO looks to retake what they had lost. That Goyo going to delay time, but you see Goyo as well sitting inside a freezer, just waiting to catch somebody. 45 seconds to go. Homeland have the man advantage. Time ticking down in their favor, but Sturdy has walked into sight and is quickly dispatched by Mute. ISO with the swing, but he's just not ready. Burning to death and finished off. The triple kill from Mute. Is now a 1v4. Lopez has so much work to do with 30 seconds, has the diffuser in hand, but I hardly feel like he's going to get a chance to plant in this situation with 20 seconds left.
Yeah, I love what Homeland is doing with that utility. They're just delaying time. They got the Mute to cut off all that information that they had, and now with Lopez just stuck in this 1v3 now, it doesn't look like it's going to be possible. But now putting in a 1v2, it's 4 seconds left. I don't feel like he's going to find the kills, and he will not. He will get taken out by Mute himself.
Mute himself playing on the Goyo. Can't do that to us, but Homeland, they've successfully found themselves in a tied ball game. That 4-4. Both teams have been playing kind of what we expect, right? You want to win those two big ticket sites, your primary and your secondary. Now this one is where we get to see if Homeland has a clear advantage on this defense over Fraud Watch. Meeting Kitchen, that tertiary site that can be a little bit harder for teams to hold based on how much square footage you got to look after. This could be where Fraud Watch finds their way in takes a round for themselves.
Yeah, well, the defenders have to cover all the square footage. So do these attackers. If they want to utilize the entire upstairs that is going to be given to them, if they do manage to get it, they got to spread themselves thin as well as the defenders do. So it's really about, positioning on this site and just, keeping track of that time, because you can spend so much time clearing out upstairs, but you got to remember your site is still downstairs. You got to get those walls open. You got to start, trying to get into sight, clear those maestro cameras that are going to deny you, plant potential. That's the name of the game here on this site. Just all about managing your time.
That's a lot of this game, right? Managing time. We've seen a couple of teams struggle with that tonight, just not able to give themselves enough room to get in there and get those plans, just struggling as the clock runs down closer and closer to 0. I do like the Maestro coming through. Always a fun operator to see that Alda does go burr, one of the only LMGs the defense has access to. But Brucey's already made his way into Attic. He'll be contesting some of these first roamers who are hanging around upstairs. You've got Sturdy over in tower as well, but this is going to be interesting. Right now in Attic, there are a couple of players, but it looks like they're more focused on where that hatch is showing us.
Yeah, and at this point, they're starting to already kind of start to slow down their attack. They got tower control, and now they're hoping to get Mute cleared out a pit there, as we're going to see a frag grenade start to get thrown out. I believe it got canceled there, but we're going to see Maverick start to open up that meeting wall to try and get those bandit charge opposite, and hopefully we can get Lopez to open that wall downstairs, just open up that site, and that's going to cause chaos from the downstairs defenders as well as it will the upstairs, as they now have to kind of go back, and there goes ISO picking a first kill onto Egon.
Not a bad shot. Brucey, though, will fall. There's some follow-up with Oloid, though. Remember, the Finka's off the board, banned out, so in both games that we've seen tonight, no Finka. Oloid's going to be trying to save Bruce as well as they can, and Bruce doing a good job of avoiding the bullets that could be raining towards him. There's the pickup, though, from Mute, collecting the kill at the very least. You would hate to see yourself go down and then them pick it up, but Luke finds another shot. This time it'll be ISO falling. Homeland Academy certainly doing a good job, but Lopez will not allow them to feel so confident for long. Back to the 3v3 with under a minute to go.
Yeah, and we have Gun, he's ready to watch that run in if these attackers even try to run in. And then we have Mute and Harbor both upstairs. And I believe Mute did rotate downstairs to try and back up Gun, but Gun's just going to take him right out. He's going to take down the second, and Sturdy's left all alone upstairs. And Harbor's going to collect that last one.
Homeland Academy. Strike hard, strike fast. We didn't really even see Fraudwatch make their way onto site too much, and that just goes to show Homeland is a scary team to go up against, especially on that defense. That will be a flawless rotation for them, and that's a great opportunity for Fraudwatch to call their timeout, say, hey, what's going on? We haven't won a single attacking round yet. We got to figure this out, guys.
Yeah, and as you said at the start of that last round, it did show that Homeland was, the more dominant team on that defense, as they did win that tertiary site. Well, Fraudwatch was unable to win that third time on defense. Just shows how much better, I guess, Homeland Security is playing, as they have won these 3 rounds in a row that they have been playing in attack. And it's going to be exciting to see if they do manage to carry 2 more rounds out to win this out, or if they're going to let Fraudwatch try and come back.
Well, Fraudwatch will do as best as they can to make that comeback happen. As you mentioned, Homeland Academy, they're very close to finding and sitting at 5-4. They only need 2 more rounds, and after showing us the flawless rotation, they certainly could pull it out for themselves. Let's see what Fraudwatch brings here, as we'll be going again to upstairs over to kids. We saw they really do enjoy this site. There's no doubt about that. They love going to the dorms. In fact, it seems like it's Homeland's primary site instead of the secondary, so very interesting there. But it's worked out so well that Fraudwatch might be a little bit nervous attacking into it.
And it definitely is their better site, as they're allowed to, kind of roam around more. You see Mute, he's running around downstairs with those Valkyrie camera information, and it also just allows people like Harbor, who's got his utility, or Lucas, all placed in sight, and they're just a gun. They can run around, just try and frag out these attackers. And the attackers are going to be kind of scared to push in the building if, there could be someone around any corner compared to downstairs where, you clear somebody out, you get the hatches. The hatches are the primary thing on that site. So being able to just hold them downstairs to deny that vertical play to cancel out that, utility clear is the primary thing that makes this site better for them.
Very interesting indeed. For Homeland Academy, a win here puts them into match point. That is a difficult situation to work out from Fraud Watch. They need to win 2 in a row, which obviously isn't as bad as what we saw Paradox White have to go through in our series previous, but can still be difficult when you're on the significantly weaker side of the map. The attack not favored usually ever on Oregon. Sometimes we'll see it, but let's check out what the Twitch can do. Trying to take down a little bit of utility can be so pesky to just have a Twitch destroy all your hard work. You've done so much setting up all those ADSs and they're gone in a little bit of a zap. So Homeland, right now, so far we've only seen 50 seconds. They're just holding those angles. Map control from Fraud Watch is going to be important.
Yeah, and they already have that entire master bedroom side. You got ISO holding down that main window cut off to sight, and we're going to see Lucas just kind of roaming around downstairs as well as Mute. And Mute does have that nitro in hand. He could possibly pick somebody important off like Lopez and prevent that wall from getting open, or just Brucey, who is the top fragger for this map for Fraud Watch, just making it even better. And there goes Gun for ISO. Just going to make this even easier for Fraud Watch to try and even the scoreline up back to 5-5.
ISO, Brucey, and Oloid have been those top fraggers, while Gunrider was one of the top fraggers for Homeland. Taken off. That's your Mute dead. Not the worst pick. A C4, as well as a great gunner, gone, but there's still one C4 left. We'll check out that replay. Excellent job with the F2 to take him down. That's what Fraud Watch needs to do, and it's what they need to continue to do, as we've still got a couple of passive teams taking their time. Swings from Sturdy. There's a player walking around, and Sturdy will catch him. There's a C4, though, from Mute to take down Lopez.
Lopez, very important not, but I do believe he already did get that wall open, so mainly you're just down your primary planter, and you're doing that 2 smoke grenades that he has gifted your team, but in this 4v2 that Homeland Security now has to try and dig themselves out of. They do have those 3 smoke grenades left in pocket. Those will delay 30 seconds of time, and hopefully both these players can just try and frag out, as Fraud Watch is still trying to just delay some time, but it does look like they're trying to get their footing into sight, as Brucey's going to put plant down, and then ISO's going to collect the last one.
Incredible job. Fraud Watch used that timeout appropriately. They were able to come back, find the win, and keep it moving up, keep it fresh. Now it's a tied ball game, back to 5-5. We've seen this before just earlier tonight on Cafe. When you get to a 5-5, you start to get that itching feeling that we're going to be heading to a potential overtime. Right now, either side would need 2 rounds in a row to secure themselves a 7-5 victory. Anything less than that, a 1-1. Well, we'll be going to that sweet, sweet OT. Homeland still on their defensive side, still a lot of power with what they can do. Let's see. I'm getting excited.
Yeah, and that pressure just being put on the teams, you lose 1 round, you're at match point. If you lose that one, you're just done. So, we're going to start to see these teams try and work even harder, maybe start to try and be a little bit more aggressive from the defender, trying to get those early picks, or maybe we see an attacker rush through blue, as I had mentioned before this game even started. That is one of the pushes for Oregon that we haven't seen yet today, as we do see the elbows being set up by the smoke. So, but it doesn't look like we're going to see a 6 pick to the Ying from Fraud Watch, so I don't believe that's going to be happening this time.
Always interesting. Ying can be such a good op at times, but it's often teams rely too much on those Candelas, and well, that can quickly blow up in your face just the same. Use your Ying, then what? She's gone. What are you going to do? So always nice to see, sometimes playing without the Ying. Right now, the defense looking to hold downstairs, fairly similar to what we saw before on this site. That Goyo, that smoke, so strong, so important, and well, Homeland did a great job of really showing just how well they can take back map control. We had early moves by Fraud Watch to take some of Laundry and a lot of, Freezer, but most of that was mitigated quite quickly by Homeland's stellar defense.
Yeah, and the problem is with 2 minutes left, these guys already have the entire map control, just allowing them to get free reign of those hatches and, possibly just kind of sneak down the front stairs or back stairs with no contention at all, as I would assume they're all aware that all 5 defenders are downstairs. So really, unless we see, like Lucas walking up those back stairs or Freezer trying to kill anybody, I don't think we're going to see any confrontation anytime soon till those last couple, minutes when the attack finally decides that they're going to start to try and push down to the site, actually.
Classic Oregon. I just sit here for 2.5 minutes and really wait. Of course, the 20-second meta, not as big as a thing as it was a while ago, back when Oregon first came out, but it still definitely holds true where a lot of teams like to sit back, they like to take their time, hang out, and yeah, well, it makes for a phenomenal ending, but the mid game can be a little bit dry. The defense still holding, Gunrider getting a little aggro, peeking towards those stairs, but Luke finds a kill. There's a refrag from Brucey onto Gun. That's ISO dead though, so the Twitch as well as a great gun off the board with 55 seconds to go. Lucas will be down, shut out by Brucey.
And Brucey's going to get taken outright bound by Harbor. And now we're stuck in a 2v3 with a Goyo canister. That delays up to 15 seconds of time. So now Fraudwatch is going to have to sit here and wait this out. And Aegon has 2 smoke canisters left. Those delay a total of 10 seconds each. So 20 seconds total time. But Lopez is just going to rush right into sight and hopefully go for this plant. Sturdy's going to be able to hold Harbor at his own. And now he's going to try and push for more. And now it's just Mute left in this 2v1. Might be able to catch it. Now
Comes
it's just
down
a
to the
1v1.
Vector. That G36C just seconds now is 30 on that diffuser. Sturdy just insane in this post plant, but he won't be insane enough. It's Mute landing the headshot to end his career, finding themselves in a 6-5 scoreline. Excellent plays by Mute. Really good by Sturdy as well, but it just wasn't enough to take down the
Homeland Security for the second time in this game, finally taking that lead, and they're on match point now. Fraudwatch now has to keep themselves in check as they are now out of a timeout, though. It is going to be tough to see as they are also attacking on Oregon. As we have mentioned, Oregon tends to be a defender-sided map. And, bringing the same lineup that we saw here last time in Kitchen Meeting, Homeland Security did manage to clutch this one out, but maybe we're going to see a different storyline this time.
Could be. Fraudwatch was so close on that round, getting the post plant, but in the 1v2, Mute really outdid himself. Phenomenal. Look at the kills though from Mute.
14.
7. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. But honestly, I'm impressed with the amount of frags that are just going out everywhere. Fraudwatch has almost 4 people up to 10K, right? Up to double digits. Alloyd, Sturdy, and ISO all at 9. Brucey's at 11. It's definitely Mute who's been an outstanding gunner. Gun not too far behind either, but Fraudwatch, I don't think that they're a bad team. They've been very close, nipping at the heels of Homeland almost every single time, but they've really got to nip down hard here as it's going to be the final round that they can win to get themselves into overtime. Homeland would love to shut it, but they are on that tertiary site that they've won previously, but can they win it again?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough thing for them to do. And now they're out of that Maverick that they did have last time. He was so good in just getting that bandit charges off the wall. And now you're just going to have to rely on Twitch, the ISO's Twitch, which he is being phenomenal this game. Going 9 and 10. 9 kills is 9 kills. What can I say? Even if it's a negative KD, but it all depends on his utility clearing potential this round, depending on what they all decide to do.
Oh boy, a lot of work to be done, but ISO starts it off taking down Lucas. Now the 5v4. That'll be your castle off the board. Not a huge up to remove, but a gun off is a gun off. Certainly powering ISO up a little bit more. Mute, though, hides around. He'll be a deadly operator to deal with. If they can take down Mute, Homeland might be in real danger.
He's been the star player of this matchup, having the 2KD, and now he's hunting for blood. He's sitting upstairs in pit, waiting for an attacker just to try and challenge him in Attic, but doesn't even look like the attackers are going to be trying to challenge Attic, because they're just going for direct take right onto Meeting, having 3 guns pointing straight into Meeting right now, and Aegon is stuck in a corner right now.
It's going to be a difficult position for that bandit to fight out of. MP7. Love the gun. It's a great gun. Black Ice down, just gorgeous. But yeah, he's in danger. So it's going to be full whited for just a moment. Tucks himself into the corner and awaits as you see all of those blue outlines roaming around. We need a little bit of pressure from the rest of the defenders and to help Angon get out of a difficult situation. I kind of would like to see where they're all at. What's going on? We'll see. There's Gun. He's all the way back kind of towards the kitchen side of things, but it's a kill from Angon, continuing to show just what a gunner. Bruce falls with 54 seconds to go.
And you lose your primary entry fragger here, even though the rest of Fraudwatch have been keeping up. 2 players on 9. As they say that 2 on 10, we're gonna see a 4v3 coming out, but Oloid might be losing his life here, but he managed to win it out against Mute, the star player, and Harbor's gonna be up above, get taken out by Lopez, and looks like we're gonna be going into overtime here unless Gun is just gonna be able to clutch out this 4v1 here.
4v1 post plants never feel good, but especially when you're low in HP, it'll be Lopez to shut down the hopes and dreams of that Maestro. Time is once again confirmed. So we'll see at least 2 more rounds as we head in to the OTs. But for Homeland Academy, starting on the defense, is that exactly what they were hoping for? That opportunity to just start hammering it home. We saw a 4-2 split on both sides.
And now Homeland's going back down to, or I guess they're going back upstairs to Kids, which is their predominant site, as we said earlier. You know, allowing them to just have the most aggression that this team is capable of, being able to lay that time with the smoke down to the last 30 seconds. Mutant, Lucas are going to be roaming around downstairs, trying to get any free picks and just kind of nag at their sides, coming up both staircases and even tower possibly. So it's going to be interesting to see what the attackers of Fraudwatch decide to do, but they are bringing the same exact lineup, except for they're bringing Habana rather than Thermite. Possibly going for maybe both walls instead, or maybe just expecting they were going to go downstairs and they might be switching off of it.
Either way about it, it's an important round for both teams. Fraudwatch got a lot of fraggers. I mean, now 3 of them are up to 10k or above. Sturdy not far behind, and I mean, you're starting to see the same start to approach from Homeland. Mute has been overwhelmingly strong, but the rest of his team picking that up, getting on board is going to be the answer. Right now, Fraudwatch, they've almost 5, I'd say all 5. Lopez not terribly negative, and not everyone can frag out every round. Fraudwatch has got a stack of players who are to be playmakers, and you can't really shut one of them down and say, all right, safe. All of them are going to be proponents in this matchup. But the other side, Mute is the guy we're all watching. If Mute goes down, Homeland Academy is going to have to work extra hard to right that.
Yeah, and he's going to be their vertical player this round, as he does have that C4 in the back pocket. He's going to have those black-eye cameras watching and seeing these attackers entering into Master, and possibly they might do what he did last time. Nitro selling Lopez, the Thermite. Granted, last time he did kill him after he got the wall open, but it was still a gun down. Does not look like he's opting to go for that at this point in time, but we will see. But they're starting to make some headway here into Master, opening that Games Wall breach. 2 minutes left. We're starting to kind of see the same story that we did see last time.
Time just ticking, but ISO with an incredible frag takes down Gun Rider. Timing, he'll say. It's always unfortunate to see some timing not go your way. That frag that gives Fraudwatch the man advantage. Big window control taken by ISO. Continue to look through it. Beautiful F2. A great weapon. Great gun to just put the pressure on. Homeland need an answer, and they need soon before Fraudwatch continues to take too much map control. Angon just about finds the kill, but both players will escape unharmed.
I like to see what Fraudwatch is doing. They're starting to kind of make the defenders feel uncomfortable in their own bomb site, as we do see only one defender is in sight right now, is Aegon. But we do see Lucas kind of coming up those white stairs, and then Mute is still below, and he's gonna pick up Sturdy. But they were collapsing onto this site, and we love to just see them make them feel uncomfortable. You know, push them into these uncomfortable positions where just pushing that corner, frag grenades can easily take them out. Stuff like that is what makes Siege great.
40 seconds to go. There's Mute falling to Bruce. Bruce on the double kill takes down Lucas. And now the 4v2. Suddenly, that feels ever tighter. Harbor and Angon have so much work to do. Plant will be attempted by Lopez, but here's a sweep from a Harbor. Finds a kill to Lope. That will deny the plant. And seconds to go. That could be a round-winning move. Angon falls, though. Harbor now the last hope, the last bastion at minimal HP. He'll down Oloid. Are dropping off. Just waiting on that time is going to be plant go now by ISO. If he's killed anyhow, it's all over, and it will be. Excellent shot from Harbor. The 1-2 denying the plant, and the time runs down. What an incredible heads-up to take the round win.
Homeland Security yet again taking that round lead in this matchup, and that information game being so prevalent on the defense of kids. You know, we were talking about Mute earlier and just his gun skills, but even his information and camera placement, they must be on point. Just allowing Homeland just to go below and just kill them. It's one of the most defeating things that you can have happened to you as the attacking side, as you're like, all right, it's a 3v1, we're getting plant down, and then all of a sudden 1 second left, your planter's dead, and now you're down a round and you're on match point. So, but you do have the luck of being downstairs on defense, and as we've said several times, this map is a defender-sided map to hell and back. And with how Homeland has been playing this map, they're going to try and delay out the time as much as possible. Even though they're attackers, they just like to kind of sit around, and with the Goyo and smoke on the board, it's going to make their jobs even more difficult.
Incredible job there, coming through to win that round. I mean, the plant going down there probably wouldn't have secured Fraudwatch's victory. The plant not going down there certainly denied it. Amazing heads-up play, understanding where that plant was going down, taking the vertical shot. Just love to see stuff like that. As you mentioned again, we see those time race operators come through and smoke, and the Goyo can do a lot of damage to the clock. So for Homeland Academy, let's see what they can do themselves. Their lineup looks similar. Of course, you've got that Hibana as the hard pitcher. You've got the Flores, but with the Nomad and Yana getting information in. Still an absolute gunner, but again, we're starting to see those other players really step up, be a great ensemble. Both teams have been trading blows back and forth. For Homeland Academy, a victory here claims an 8-6.
Yeah, and we're seeing this, you know, util clear heavy lineup here, as we do have Lucas and Flores. He might not have the best score line, but he is doing God's work on that supporting op right now, and he's going to try and clear out those Goyo canisters before they can even be set onto them. You know, maybe if they do a later push later in the round, they don't have to worry about stuff like that, and they're trying to currently clear out Elbow, try and get that control, and that's just going to make the smoke just have to find a new position in his own bomb site here.
With just over 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, at this point, Homeland Academy would like to continue to make those moves. You see a player reinforcing bunker, getting himself safe and locked in to where he'll be for the final minute and 20 of this round. This incredibly important. Sturdy still in the flank, looks around as of right now. Well, Tiggy, we saw this, right? This site goes incredibly slow until all of a sudden 20 seconds left, and it doesn't go slow anymore. Those early picks going to be huge here as we enter the final.
Yeah, and with that wall being reinforced now, and Lucas is gonna pick up a kill, and so will Harbor, bringing this down to a 3v5. One Nitrocell and 2 smoke canisters left with 45 seconds. Fraudwatch has gotta, pick up the pace. As Sturdy is still way off site, not gonna be able to support his teammates currently in sight, and Homeland's gonna start just collapsing on the site. This may be just the game-winning round for them, but with 30 seconds left in the clock, Sturdy's going to be able to make it back to site, and Homeland still hasn't made much progress on getting this plant down, as Lopez still chucking those smoke canisters into site. Sturdy's going to pick up one, making this down to a 3v4. 15 seconds left. Lopez is going to go down. Sturdy in a 1v2. Homeland's going to take it home.
Well, Homeland find themselves the victors in an 8 battle. Same outcome that we saw on game 1. So very fun. We had that overtime. We were great battles from both sides. They were so close, and they had a lot of great fraggers, but it just seemed like Homeland had the edge on them, and they did. Went to OT. They were able to win those 2 rounds in a row, finding their victory.
It was a great game. We saw it almost go the full distance, but 6-8, we can't complain. It's better than a 7-0 as usual. Snorrigan, and maybe a slow map, but we did see some incredible plays from both attackers, defenders, and just that last or second to last round. Great play from Homeland just to identify where the planters was. One of the many of the great plays that we saw that last game.
Exactly what they needed to do. So right now it's 96 Bulls as well as the guys on Homeland Academy who won tonight's game. So congrats to them. Phenomenal job. I think both teams that we saw, though, the ones who lost, unfortunately, I think they played phenomenally. And I'm excited to see how the season progresses in Xenon Gaming Series Season 3. There's lots of time and room for all the teams. So I'm excited to see how that continues to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother to count those teams out yet, but we still week 1 of this season, and it's going to be great to see them carry out. I'm not 100% sure how many weeks there are, but I know there's more than 1. 5. They got 4 more weeks to make this comeback, and maybe they'll make playoffs. But
good. So we are going to kick it to a short break. We'll be back with an interview, so don't go. We'll be talking to one of the Homeland Academy teammates with a little bit of insight. Just a couple minutes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the post-game interview here at the Xenon Gaming Series. My name's Slayzilla. I'm joined with Tiggy, and we also have Lucas from Homeland Academy. Welcome, Lucas. How you doing?
Doing good. Feels great after a win. So it was good.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. It was a hard-fought victory, though. We saw it go all the way to overtime, obviously on Oregon, a map that everyone knows and loves, being fairly defender-sided. Let's talk a little bit about that first half. You guys came in. We saw FraudWatch take those opening 2 rounds,
Yeah.
but were you guys worried about that being on the attacking side?
It was, I wouldn't say worried. It was a little frustrating because we knew the first 2 rounds, I don't remember exactly what happened. It went by fast, but it's our attacks were sloppy. They're not as good as they usually are. It was a bit sloppy, so we were getting our heads a bit in the first half, but once we switched to defense, reset, move on, you're on defense now, so it was easier once we switched.
Mm.
Right. And bouncing off, since you said that you guys were not like had sloppy attacks, were you guys preferring to go to Oregon, or was there another map that you guys would have rather gone to take Fraud Watch to?
Well, I won't say what maps we like, what maps we don't. But
Dang.
I will say Oregon is one of the maps we don't love it, we don't hate it. It's one of the maps that we are competent on, but I wouldn't say it's our best map. Definitely not. We have better maps than Oregon.
Well, I'm excited to see those as well as we are season. So it'll be fun to see how everyone progresses. So obviously, once you guys got into that defensive side, you took the flawless rotation through. Now, Fraud Watch, I mean, they did fight back. There were a couple of gunners on there. How are you able to manage like all the fragging power? Because there at one point, I think 3 or 4 of them were over double digits or very close to.
Yeah, on our defenses, what the thing we were really focusing on were playing trades, playing crossfires. Once we had our perfect rotation, we were a bit hyped. We got a little loosey-goosey on our fourth defensive round. I think we lost that one when we went back up top. So yeah, we were playing a bit loose. We tightened it up. We played off each other better. We played our refrags, and we pulled it to overtime. We got our other rounds on defense, so it's just loosening it up, making sure we're playing off each other, and that we don't let 1, 2 people just kill us all in one round.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough uphill battle and downhill battle that both you guys fought. And um, did you guys do any preparation at all for these TIs at all?
It's like every team, we scrim. We get ready for game day. Like I said, Oregon isn't one of our favorite maps. It's not a map we play a whole lot in scrims. So coming to Oregon was it was a bit not ideal for us, but who doesn't know how to play Oregon? It's really easy to, it's really easy to just come up on the fly. You have your defaults. So yeah, there are other maps we like better, but yeah, we prepare, we come ready to play. So we're good.
Awesome. Well, again, congratulations on the victory. I'll give you the floor now if you've got anything you'd like to say, anybody you'd like to shout out. Now's your time.
I mean, it's gonna be the default. Just thanks everyone cheering us on, whoever that may be out there, people that want us to win. Obviously our manager Apex. Shout out to Apex. He does the most. Keeps us organized. Keeps us going. Schedules our stuff. Doing a ton of work. Apex. Love you, man. But yeah, excited to come back next week. Play again. I don't remember who we played, but sure it'll be a good one, just like today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lucas. It was
Yeah.
great having you in here for the post-game interview, and I'm excited to see how the games continue to go. But for tonight here with Tiki and I, that's all we have. Those are all the games we've got planned for you. Both of them went to overtime. Incredibly exciting. But until next time, we'll return next week or Sunday sometime.
Sunday, we will be back.
Right.
Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday at 7:30 Eastern.
All right.
We want
Excellent.
Zellos versus Zero Risk.
It's exciting stuff, so don't go too far. Come back on Sunday. We'll have more Siege for you. But until then, take it easy. Have a great night.